This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to all of you ladies and gentlemen out there watching us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. My name is Steve Falconbridge. I'm joined by Craig on camera, and this is Safari Live, and we're out in the wilderness in the Sabi Sands, Djuma Private Game Reserve, South Africa. Please feel free to send through your questions, hashtag Safari Live. Follow us on the YouTube stream. Let us know what you'd like to see. The temperature today is 29 degrees Celsius, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It is blustery, windy afternoon, and we are going to go find ourselves some lions. So jump on board, buckle up your seatbelt, bring a jacket. It might get a little bit cold later. I hope everyone's had a wonderful day. I had a nice morning off, nice little sleep while the others did all their work. So now it is my chance for everything, and hopefully we will manage to find this morning. And there's always that they...
So it begins. Oh, welcome. Unfortunately, it seems like Steve is not getting off to the best start with the Gremlins. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have the incredible Wiem, aka the wildebeest, on camera. And you can see I'm staring at the sand. And I'm staring at the sand to try to find you a leopard. So we have a report that Shidulu, the female leopard, crossed after drive in this area. However, it's the same spot where the Nkuhuma Pride crossed, so lots of tracks all over the place. So I'm just trying to decipher what's going on. Remember, this is 100% live, and we do apologize for the technical difficulties. Bringing you wild Africa live from South Africa can be a little bit troublesome sometimes. But hopefully our incredible tech team will have it sorted in no problem. Okay, now let us see if we can find where this female leopard crossed. Otherwise, if we don't see any tracks, this is quite a busy road. We'll head down towards Tree House. It's always a good spot to look for leopards. As I say, quite a lot of lion tracks from where the Nkuhumas came in this morning. And of course it did indeed draw a bird day. So if you have drawn any birds, please take a picture, tweet them with the hashtag Safari Live, share them about, pop them on the Safari Live Facebook page, and do whatever you need to do to get that bird to us. Okay, I'm going to concentrate a little bit more. I'm going to go see if this leopard had a drink down here. While I do that, let's go see Taylor, who drew a very unrealistic bird eating an elephant.
And where's your bird, Brent? At least I drew one. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Senzo. We're on bushwalk, and that's Herbie. He's going to be keeping us safe. He's also eating an apple at the moment. It's always good to stay hydrated and make sure you have a snack when you're on a walk. Now, we did have a wildebeest, but unfortunately he's run away. You may remember from the Sunrise Safari, we had a wildebeest just down over there. He was standing on a termite mound. He's now migrated this way, and now he's running away from us because the wind has picked up, and I think he's a little bit uncertain about our movements there. But we'll hopefully see him in a little bit. I can see his head popping up every now and then. Now, we're going to be giving Brent a hand on finding that leopard. Apparently Shidulu crossed in, and from Arathusa, no, not Arathusa, from Little Gowrie. So we're going to head in that direction and see what we can find, which will be quite nice. And then we'll also be stopping sort of for some of the smaller things as we go along. And because it's Draw Bird Day, I've bought my book out, notebook with me, so that we can get Herbie to hopefully draw a bird for us at some point today. So that's going to be quite exciting, because I feel like he also needs to get in on all the action. So that is the plan for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to just hug quarantine, and we're going to sort of march south to get into the area where, Shidulu is hopefully going to be, if I don't get caught on all sorts of vegetation first. So that is the plan. Maybe some elephants would be quite nice. Now, some of you may have seen that Herbert has got a rifle. It's very important that we do take a rifle out on bushwalks. So, Corley, it's there for protection. Obviously, our first point of defense is our brain. Obviously, we are both trained in animal behavior. And the idea of a bushwalk is not to walk up and scratch a line between its ears. That's not what we're going to be doing. But it does allow us to be able to view animals on foot. When we walk as if we didn't have a rifle. But you do have to carry one when you go out on a walking safari, but the chances of that having to be used is very, very slim. For example, I've been in the bush for just over 7 years, and I've never ever had to shoot an animal or anything like that, or even one or two close calls, which is of course natural when you are walking and walking and walking and walking. Otherwise, you're probably not going to need it, so don't worry about that. One of the favourite things of Brent is, of course, to do a bit of tracking, and he's wasted no time. He's looking down at the ground.
We found Shidulu's tracks coming to drink at that small pan, and then she went off into the bush here. So we're just trying to see if she pops out on the road as we slowly head towards Treehouse Dam. Some lions came down here as well. Some of them. Very popular entrance point for cats today, Shabam Road. Now, when looking for Shidulu, it's always wise to put one's eyes up into the trees, and she does like to rest up high in the trees, more so than our other females. Unfortunately, we haven't got any tracks of her just yet. But lots of lion tracks up and down and around. So, as those who were watching the sunrise safari will know, the Nkuhumas and the Torchwood Pride had a slight altercation. I watched a video of it from someone who was there, and it wasn't too serious. It was actually pretty, as lion fights go, it was pretty meek in my experience. There was a bit of growling, a bit of slapping, but nothing too serious at all. The one thing that was quite funny was the little Nkuhuma male who charged in and started roaring, thinking he was a lot bigger than he is. So nothing much. Hello, Kudu. Are you going to stand still for long enough? Or are you going to run off? Nice big adult female kudu. Now, there's a little baby as well behind her. Just caught a glimpse of it. And see, there you can just see its ears. Hello, little one. Now, it's good to know where kudu are, because with this wind, it's very good leopard hunting weather, especially once it gets a bit cooler. It's gusting wind going all over the place, so there's a good chance that the leopards might be up and on the move a little bit earlier than usual on the hunt. And knowing where the kudu are, they are quite often very good alarm systems, and they've got a very deep, loud bark when they do see a leopard. Bah! Bah! I'm not seeing any tracks of Shidulu just yet. Might just loop down, check Savage's track, check back up Philemon's. With all the lion tracks here, she might have changed her mind and gone back towards the northwest. I'm keeping a good lookout in the trees for a dangling kitty tail. Now, we spend a lot of time tracking cats, and yes, Wolfgang, we are able to tell the age of tracks. There's quite a few different ways to age tracks. A windy day like today, actually tracks that might be a little fresher than you think. The edges would have been rounded by the wind. What animals or little insects and stuff have walked across them, if there's any nocturnal animals that have walked across. So yes, we are able to age tracks and work out which ones are fresh enough to follow and which ones aren't. Now, after all the rain we had 3 days ago, tracking is a little bit more difficult because the rain compounds the ground and makes it quite a lot harder. So an animal as small as a female leopard, often you're just tracking the slightest little mark, so it can be quite tricky, but fortunately we get lots of practice, so we're quite good at finding them. Now, I know Taylor's also heading slowly into this area to see if they can find Shidulu on foot, but it seems like she's been distracted by a bush on her way.
Nope, we're trying to march on, and sadly I've been checking all the sennas, all the Weltharias, the round leaf teak. That got me today, but no insects. I don't know where they all are. I can see little grasshoppers jumping every now and then, but they blend in so well with the ground that once they've jumped and... Oh, here's a bee fly. These are quite cool. Since I don't know how close you can see, but basically, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see, but I'm trying to find where is it.
It's there. Somewhere. I don't want to go too close, because then if I go too close, maybe if you want to stand over it, I don't know, then you might be able to see it a bit better. But there's a beautiful bee fly there. They're like fluff balls, like cotton balls, with a long proboscis. You see it flies buzzing about now. Where are you going to land? Where are you going to land? There we go.
Is it up?
No, it's here. Can you see it?
No.
Come here. Sorry, this is always the hardest part now. Now I've lost it. Insects being difficult today. Okay, now I've lost it. I think it may have flown away. Anyways, it was quite cool. I'm just seeing more and more of them buzzing around. It was quite nice. We'll try and get another one. One that's a bit more cooperative and maybe not in the long grass. It's exceptionally windy today, so I feel like a lot of the insects are going to struggle to hold on to anything. Now, this is not great when you are on a bushwalk. You don't really want to do bushwalks when it's super, super windy, and a lot of times you'd actually end up cancelling them when you're walking with guests. Obviously with us it's a little bit more different. We're in a small group. I'm a trained guide, Herbie's a trained guide, and well, Sensor's been on enough bushwalks to just about be a trails guide as well. So he knows what to do. He's followed all of us. But when you're with guests, it becomes a little bit different. You can't hear very well. I'll never hear an elephant feeding off of a marula tree in this, or even a buffalo as it walks through the leaf litter. I'm not going to hear a thing, and that's no good. Also, because it's so windy, those animals are going to be on edge, like we saw with the wildebeest. That's normally fine with us from a far distance away on foot. He was not having any of it, and even in a big, wide open area, was moving away from us, showing that he was really, really uncomfortable with our presence. So, we need to be on serious high alert today, and we're going to try not walk through any dense areas. Probably going to be using roads a little bit more than normal, just to sort of, well, help us out a bit. It's scary not being able to hear while you're out on a bushwalk, but we'll make do. Just checking as we're walking. I don't know if you notice, like when I'm walking, I'm sort of just kicking the ground, seeing if I can chase any insects or anything up, and hope that one will jump and we'll actually be able to see where it lands. Lots of little hairtail butterflies fluttering about. They're struggling in the wind today. You see them go up and then blow away. They're trying to keep up with them as a nightmare. You see, there was a grasshopper. Goodness, that jumped about 1.5 meters. Here's another bee fly. Wait. Can you see it, Senzo?
Yeah, on there.
It's not sitting down, it's just sort of hovering. That's incredible. The way that it's desperately trying to not get blown away in the wind. But even the little insects are struggling. Where are you going to sit? putting itself down. Now, I don't think it's feeding or doing anything like that. I think it's actually just trying to find a spot to rest to keep out of the wind, because it isn't particularly pleasant. But I'm going to scare it because I want the Marula fruit that's here. Oh, doesn't seem to be too bothered by me at all. Look at this. This must be the last Marula of the season, which is pretty cool. And it's good enough for me to eat. Sorry, Senzo. No, I'm joking. Do you want it? You don't want to eat it? Okay, we'll save it for just now, halfway through the walk, and I'll have a little nibble. It's going to be delicious. No one? Hey? We can share it. Okay. Senzo and I may be sharing a Marula fruit. But we're going to head down towards Herbie. We're going to go through Philemon's Dip now, so we're almost where we need to start looking for Shedulu. So we'll give Brent a hand soon. He's obviously way ahead of us. Let's go find out what road he's on.
I'm wondering how Senzo and Taylor are going to share Marula fruit. It's quite tricky, considering its size and all the flesh attached to the pip. Interesting. Okay, so we are just double checking again if Shedulu has come up this way, and again looking at all the nice big trees. As we know, she likes to nap in trees. Now, it was just after 9 o'clock this morning that she crossed, so she could have done considerable distance. So we might just check down Zoe's road quickly. It's still quite warm, even though you've got this very gusty wind today. I mean, it's changing direction constantly. Not too strong, but definitely strong enough to affect some of the animals, particularly your prey species. You'll find your Impala and wildebeest and zebra and things like that will be quite jumpy in this weather. She has been spotted quite a few times resting in marulas around here. That's why we're just going a little bit slower. Still no sign of her tracks. I think she might even still be inside one of those blocks behind us. That's where bushwalk comes in very handy. The ability to spend time on foot looking for leopards in those areas. Now, I know Tristan and Viam had an awesome sighting of Shedulu yesterday, Jason, and you were there with them, and I agree it would be great to see her again today. Hopefully we are able to find her not too long a time. And if she hasn't eaten, she's going to be quite active. Now, with the strong gusty wind that's been blowing all day, there's even a possibility she might have managed to catch herself something during the day, and she's in one of these thick areas, sitting happy with a kill. Have a quick look down here. This is one of her, seems to be one of her preferred routes along Zoe's road. No sign of any tracks. We'd see them quite easily on here. Our Taylor found some leopard cub tracks a few days ago. Christina, they are not Kachava's cub tracks. Kachava does not move into that area. There's no ways she would bring her cub into that area for multiple reasons. Tandi would probably kill it. Hukamuri might kill it. So it is not a safe area, and there's no reason for her to bring her cub into that area, an area she doesn't know and doesn't frequent. So it's almost certainly not Kuchava's cub tracks that Taylor had. Oh, well, we've been not having many of these around, so let's go across to Taylor.
Now we're just moving around, repositioning, because look who we've got. There's been much talk about where have the elephants gone over the last few days. Well, we found one of them, which is quite nice. I suspect it is a bull, but he's just walking down Philemon's cut line. Oh, Aunt Joe, here we go. There's your elephant. There's one of them. Now, like I said, it's very, very windy, so it's not really a great day to do approaches unless we stay in the favor of the wind. We don't want this elephant to be able to smell us, because he's going to get quite nervous. He'll be frustrated that he can't hear us, as that's one of the primary senses that elephants are relying on, is actually their hearing as well as their sense of smell. So we don't want to do that. So we'll let him see. We might even just take a gamble and view from a distance, a little bit further away. We will try and get a little bit closer than this, though. But as soon as we go through this drainage line and up on the other side, the environmental factors are all going to change. The wind is going to be probably blowing in a little bit of a different direction. So we'll have to have a look. And I wonder if he got nervous, because that's where the lions were all walking down the road and laying on the road. And that scent might make him a bit nervous too, but we'll be careful. Right, we're going to see if we can sneak a bit closer. Off you go to Brent. And I promise you, Brent, we'll be there in a while.
Well, I think that elephant's probably nervous due to the gusting wind. Some ellies just don't really like it. Those lions are quite far away from there now, and I'm pretty sure the ellie will be able to smell that. Now, just a quick update on Steve. He's returned to camp and is changing vehicles, so hopefully Wendy will be a little bit more reliable. So he should be out shortly. It's a good spot to look for Kuchava. We can park up here on the high ground, and I can check with my binoculars multiple Marula trees, and maybe we'll get lucky and spot her tail hanging out of one of them. Definitely one of my favorite views on Djuma is from this particular section. Let's just go a little bit forward where we can get the whole valley. Okay, what can we see, Vim? Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look. As you can see, nice and far, quite a few trees that would be a nice sort of napping spot for a leopard. You can see how gusty the wind is. Unfortunately, no sign of Shidulu. Where to check next? Let's head down towards Philemon's Dip from Rebecca's Road. Now, we've been asked this quite a lot in the last while. Laura, in almost all likelihood, Shadow has moved on to the next plane, and so has the cub. They have not been seen in over 6 weeks, and there have been lots of other leopards seen in what is traditionally Shadow's territory, namely Hukumuri, and Shidulu seems to have taken over the majority of that. So I think, unfortunate, but the most likely scenario is that Shadow has been probably killed by another leopard, and for the cub's sake, it's almost certainly another leopard like Hukumuri or Shidulu. Just remember that leopard cub mortalities, over 70% of the mortalities are committed by other leopards, not by lions, not by hyenas. So of the known leopard mortalities, nearly 70% committed by other leopards. Mostly young males, but or males moving into an area. Wow, the wind seems to be getting stronger. Good thing I didn't wear my big hat today, otherwise it would have blown off. Now, I said the wind is blowing, gusting actually. Katie, the biggest impact of the wind, it doesn't really affect us on safari as much. Sometimes it can make certain animals a little bit more difficult to find, and certain animals a little bit more nervous. So Impala, wildebeest, duiker, all your sort of prey species can be very, very jumpy, and well, birding's quite difficult in the wind as well. The predators quite enjoy the wind though, so they're often mobile. The lions, leopards, wild dogs, a cheetah, all don't mind the wind. The wind is often a good aid for them in hunting, and enables them to sneak up on those prey species a little bit more easily. That's why they can be a bit more nervous. Also, animals like elephant can be a little bit more nervous during strong gusty winds like this. Now, from our point of view, it does make tracking a little bit more difficult. Strong winds like this can cover up the tracks, blow the edges, so they're harder to spot. But on a positive note, it keeps it a little bit cooler. Okay, well, let's go see how close Madam McCurdy is to that Ellie.
Well, we're deciding now what we're going to do. Whether we leave this elephant or we do an approach. We can't see him anymore. He walked obviously to the road, turned back and then went into the thicket. This was sort of the last view we had of him. But it's really not nice out here today. It's exceptionally windy. So I'm thinking, because Herbie is not 100%, so I think that we're probably going to leave it and maybe just try and move past him. We're just seeing if we can see him now. See, we can't hear him. Normally what would be easy, we could just stand here on the road, and if he'd gone into the bushes, we would hear where he was feeding, where he was moving. We can't do that today, which is a bit of a nuisance. Typical. Windy. Now we can't see our elephant. We've been searching for elephants for ages. So that's the plan for now. Also, we decided to give the Marula fruit to Herbie. He was like a kid in the candy store. He fist pumped the air. He was so excited that he got the last one. So Senzo and I'll have to wait till next year to get one. Or maybe we're lucky. Maybe we find two more. Who knows? So as we're walking along here, we're going to stick to the road because the grass gets very tall. Just trying to see through the gaps, the pockets of the big bush willow trees, if we can see this elephant. I mean, at any moment he could turn and come running back in this direction because he's got a fright or he's picked up a new scent. So we're just going to be careful. Basically, where we're walking now is to the old hyena den. Remember the one, or Philemon's cat line. Now, speaking of, well, potentially being in dangerous situations with animals. That's a car that I heard. And Eloise, I can't say, I've been head-butted by a few different types of antelope. I haven't had one on a bushwalk come charging out at me. I have, however, been rammed by an Impala named BB. That was fun. When I was about 14 years old, I did this thing at school, and we went out and it was like a survivor type of vibe. And basically, when we had final council? Is that what they used to call it on Survivor? And they were doing whoever was going to be voted off and this Impala rammed me and another girl that was on it with me, which was quite funny, in fact. And then when I was really young, at my parents' friend's farm, we had this big kudu bull that rolled me around very gently. It was quite funny when I was little. My dad always tells the story, and those are the only 2 times, and I've survived. Just checking. Herbie just took a big step in like that, so maybe we'll take a big step in as well. Let's have a look. So he was basically coming in this direction, and while you are on bushwalk, oh, there he is, there he is, there he is. Now, I'm going to lower my voice substantially, because the wind is swirling in here. It's not coming from a particular direction, which is a problem. Okay, we're still fine for now. But you see how difficult it is to try and spot him. And it doesn't have much vegetation around him, but even just that little bit is just enough to cover the largest mammal on land. He doesn't know we're here. And we must be about 100 meters away from him. Hey, Herbie? About 100 meters or so. I'm hoping that we have the wind in our favor, because that's fine, because then I can talk like this and you won't be able to hear us. You can see him shaking his head. You can see the way the leaves are blowing as well, blowing off and down towards the sort of southwest. Yes, Herbie is the champion, isn't he, at finding animals. So the bull is moving off. We probably won't tail after him. We'll just let him go. Herbie, what do you think the chances are that he's going to go to Chele Pan or the mud wallows? So I think what we're going to try and do is we think, because it is a hot day, you can see him just going there. It has been a very, very warm day. So we're thinking maybe he's going to go to the mud wallows or Pangolin Track, or perhaps he is going to go to the, Chele Pan. And if we can try and get there, I mean, ideally we'd like to get there before him, but that's fine. We'll let him go first. We'll just try and take a back seat and stick behind him and hopefully get him. But he's still got a little way to go. We've got about another kilometer or so before we get to that watering hole. But for an elephant to do that, well, it's okay. Okay, we're going to keep walking and try and keep up with this elephant. And Senzel's doing an amazing job of walking backwards. I'm pretty sure Brent has got about 30,000 stories of times that he's been charged by antelope.
Well, you've got to be you've got to really be, trying to think how to put this nicely. It's difficult to get charged by an antelope, is the thing. I'd say I wouldn't, apart from doing game capture, you don't really get charged by antelope. And VM and I obviously had a Nyala jump through the window, but that wasn't charging us, it was trying to get away from wild dogs. It was a Nyala, it jumped straight through VM's passenger window and ended up on my lap. But other than that, apart from game capture with semi-sedated animals or animals in capture nets, you don't really get charged by antelope out here. Very, very seldom anyway. You need to sort of corner them in a fence or whatnot. And even a squirrel can be dangerous if cornered. The fight or flight mechanisms will take over. And yes, so I'm just going to turn my radio down. Okay, I'm going to head to Chitwa. Let's go see if we can find Tingana. In the meantime, let's head to Steve, who sounds like he's heading into a similar area to Taylor.
Thank you very much, Brent. I'm terribly sorry, folks, for my lack of appearances so far. We've had a few gremlins on the signal front. We have since changed cars. We are in Wendy now, and we're out and about, and we have come across the largest herd of Impala that I've seen in some time. You can see how a lot of them are very interested in something that's going on the left there. And what it is, in fact, is some warthog running through the grass. But animals are very unnerved in these conditions. When it's windy, they can't hear the predators approaching. And many times in the past, I've seen lions and leopards, as soon as the wind picks up like this, stand up and start hunting. because the wind obviously masks their approach and makes it much easier for them to get closer. And so that's why these animals come together in such a tight-knit group. You think it's for safety for the others, but it's actually being quite selfish. They're all trying to stand in the middle of the herd and not be on the outside, because if you're on the outside, you're a target. And even the fact that the males are starting to come into the rutting season, you can see there's not too much concern on their behavior. They're all hanging out together. Better to be in a group of this size than trying to demarcate a territory on your own in these conditions. We did see a male impala before when we didn't have signal on his own, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He was jumping up and down and looking in every direction. And the problem is when you're constantly on the lookout and alert, you spend very little time feeding. I mean, even these guys in this large group are not feeding very quickly or a lot, because the wind is making them quite suspicious. Not even ruminating. No one's even ruminating, so they're quite... Ghost, I'm on Djuma at the moment. We are not far from Vuyatela Dam, actually. And you want to know if there are more impala there than on Djuma? I'm not sure. We seem to see enormous herds on Chitwa, but then maybe that's just because of the dam. You know, we see them coming down to drink. It's quite open there. And as we've seen, Vuyatela Dam does not sport an enormous amount of water at the moment. But we're not far from that dam, and I'm sure these are the impala that spend their evenings on quarantine, the open area just south of our camp. There we go. That's one ruminating there, semi-ruminating. And you can see they're all a little bit unsettled. If I had to do an alarm call now, I'm sure all of them would semi-jump up. So I'm not going to do that because that's not very ethical, is it? Well, you can see the boys are in the middle. The boys in the middle are still jostling with each other. Ghost, none of the impala are pregnant yet. You can see if we just look in the front here of us, Craig, just in the road, you can see a young male there. Just here on the right, here we go. This is a youngster. In the middle of shot, you can see the horns. There's a few youngsters around. They were all born in about November. That one that just came in and did a little bit of a headbutt there, he was born the previous November. There he comes in. There's November of last year, and the one just behind him is from November the year before. So you can see that by the size of the horns, but all the females will get impregnated in the month of May, April, May, generally. Some of them will come into a late estrus, some that missed falling pregnant in the early season. Some of them will come back in August, September, but none of these are pregnant yet. The rutting season will be coming and are starting in the coming weeks. The first full moon in May till the second full moon. So even as early as late April, between that full moon and the next full moon is generally where all the mating takes place. Females come into estrus, stimulated by the males doing their amazing roaring. If you've heard it before, it sounds like something wanting to come and eat you. So they talk about animals or impala or antelope attacking you. When you hear that, you think something is coming to finish you off. But it's not the case, actually. It is the roaring. Yes, Ghost, they can be sneaky out of rutting season, but the females are not in estrus. The estrus actually gets induced by the roaring that happens very soon. So I think it happens in red deer as well, that they do a lot of roaring, and that stimulates to ovulation. So it's impossible to impregnate them if they're not ovulating. That's how it works, and we have a little bit of an impala roadblock at the moment, but it's marvelous to see so many of them together. Now we know why we have such a healthy leopard population. All of this food. And you see, they're all jostling to try to be in the middle. No one really wants to be on the outside. Macy, the Impala start growing their horns from the first few weeks or month of their birth. This one you see there, he was born in November, and the horns are slowly growing, and they will grow until they die, in the males only, that is. So they grow to a certain point. There's lots of interest of these Impala to the left. I can hear some green woodhoopoos calling. And they're not very relaxed. I think we might actually have a little look around here, Craig. What do you think? But I think it's just the weather that's spooking them. We were thinking of going and helping Taylor with her elephants, see if we can get the elephants with the vehicle. Okay, well, let's go over to Taylor, who's on foot, and she's got you some tracks.
Well, we just thought we'd stop and have a very, very quick look at this monstrous lion footprint. I'm going to put my hand next to it, and my hand is completely dwarfed next to it. Let me use both hands today. Okay, so doing it a bit different. Here's the back of the foot, here, and these are the toes. It looks like he was walking quite quickly, and he stood and he slid into his track slightly, but that is massive. I mean, if I put my hand over there, I'm going to wreck this track now. Should we do it this way? That is so cool. Literally, my fingers are maybe 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters bigger than his track. Otherwise, my hand is exactly the same width as his footprint. Probably his foot is probably a little bit bigger than that. That's crazy. So we've had a discussion. We've been trying to figure out who it could be. Tristan said to me that he spoke to some of the Arethusa guides that saw him initially tailing after the Nkuhumas, and it wasn't a Birmingham, it was a Majingaland male, and they are quite big. So that's what was happening here, and he's a little bit on the beaten up side, so we do need to also be careful while we're walking. That wouldn't be a fun lion to bump into. Imagine an old male that's, had his ego seriously bruised. He could be injured to the point where maybe he can't hunt. We don't really get any more information other than that. So on a bushwalk, probably a place you don't want to be. So you have to be careful. So we don't want to be following his tracks at all today. Now, obviously with all the lion dynamics, everything's changing slightly with the evokers trying to come on in. Bex, was it David or Daniel? Sorry. David, there we go. So David, no, I don't think that the Birmingham boys would come in and intervene in two different prides fighting, so the females. Yes, if there were other males that came in, most certainly they'd intervene. They'd want to try and get rid of them and take them out, chase them away, but not for a dispute against two different prides. Not at all. They'd just let things be. They might be curious by the sounds, but remember, they know no different. The Birminghams also see the Torchwood pride. They see the Styx pride, so for them it kind of means absolutely nothing. Let me just keep moving. Herbie's up ahead. We're still on the road. Now, we decided to move away from that elephant. It just got too thick, and I don't know. We just had a weird feeling, so we both decided that we're going to give him a skip, and we're going to rather focus on finding a leopard, so it might be a little bit easier. David, yes, male and female lions do get along. Obviously, the longer the coalition of males is around and the more frequently they visit the pride of females, they'll start forming a better bond with one another. But those males are not bound to one pride. They can move around and have more than one pride with them. So most of the time they get on. If it's a new coalition of males that's taken over, sometimes the females are slightly hostile and they've got to earn their place with the boys. But normally within a few months they've sort of won the girls over. Otherwise, the girls know they don't want to mate with the new boys. They're going to find themselves, well, with a few scratches, possibly even dead. So they might only put up a fight for a little bit. Well, speaking of all these cats, I know Steve's trying to find lions, but Brent has won the safari because he's found you a leopard at the Sunset Safari.
There we go. He's only about 50 meters from where we left him in the morning, and it is Tingana. still looking quite hungry, so he hasn't had any success during the day. And there are some waterbuck not too far away, but lots of open ground between. But it's a good spot to lie and wait, because you never know what might wander along the dam wall. We often have Impala and all sorts coming through here. So, as I said, he was quite hungry this morning, so it might be worth playing the patience game this afternoon with him. Now, it's amazing how much his territory has shrunk in just over a year. So he had massive amounts of territory. Okay, let me just get my bearings correct here. A very big welcome to Macy. He's a brand new viewer. He is a boy. He's a big boy. He's not in the best condition. He's quite an old boy as well. And he used to have a large territory. But unfortunately, as he's got older, younger males have moved in and sort of put a lot of pressure on him. So, I don't know if we can... How's that work for you, Vim? Is that okay? Okay, so that little blue dot is where we are now. But, so Tingana's previous territory basically used to encompass, go out like this. His whole territory, it goes further than that. His territory used to encompass from, how am I going to do this? Let's think now. From down here where my finger is, all the way around like that, up into that fence line, across to the north, all the way down south here, all the way down to the Kruger boundary, and then down and around again back. Now his territory has shrunk from that massive area to basically where we are now, this sort of small square just like that. And he's got Hukamuri pushing in from this side, and he's got Quarantine pushing in from this side and this side. So he's lost the majority of his territory in the last little while, and he seems to have been surviving on baby waterbucks around the Chitwa Dam. We've all been sort of joking it's a good retirement home for old leopards. There's a constant supply of decent food. Oh, but he's a tired kitty now. So while he naps, let's send you across to Steve, who might have caught up with the elephant Taylor was with.
Yes, I have. We have got a beautiful male elephant here who's just walking around us quite cautiously. He's not causing any trouble or showing any sign of discomfort. But let me try and just reposition so we can get a better look at him as he comes down towards the road. I heard reports of a breeding herd of elephant, and we headed in that direction, and we found a bull. This is marvelous. It's the first elephant I've seen in some weeks. So really, actually, I saw him this morning when I was doing some tests with Jigger, but I think this is the same individual. But the first elephant I'm showing you lovely people in some time. Let's see if we can just get in front of him. I have no doubt that the wind is also playing a part in a little bit of his discomfort. And he's on his own. Shame, poor guy. The life of an elephant bull. Lone. Very, very cool. Yeah. Jonathan, Alicia, and Giraffe Girl, I'm also very excited. It's marvelous. I always love seeing elephants, and because they're always doing something, you know, they're always busy. Just trying to just get a little bit in front of him so we can see what he's doing without causing him any stress. Sorry, Craigo, that's about as good as we're going to get here. You see, he's quite relaxed. The eyes are soft. Hello, my boy. We're just saying hello. Always amazes me how silent they are when they move. Can't believe that's a 4.5, 5 ton animal moving over there. And hiding behind the bush as well. How easily he hides. Let me move up. Sorry, Craig. What delicacy has he found now? So through observations, I was talking last night about looking at the fecal content of animals' dung to see what they're feeding on. You can actually spend time now and focus. He's feeding on the Weltheria there, the snakebite bush. So that we know for a fact because we can see it happening. And then analysis under a microscope will also give you the facts of what's being fed upon. And a lot of animals make, there we go, he's enjoying the snakebite bush. A lot of animals make use of the wildflowers this time of year. Lots of nitrogen in them, lots of nutrients. They will fade away in the coming weeks, so it's good to get all that nutrients in while you can. Very selectively doing so with that big trunk. And if you don't know what snakebite bush is, I can show you. Tawny feather, this is 100% live with a live African elephant who is showing us his bottom right now. Let's move around, see if we can get on the other side. Now he's feeding on some lovely grasses underneath the tree. And a little berry. Okay, I wonder, there's so much tannin in Magic Worry. Wonder if he's actually going to eat that branch or if he's looking for the seed pods, the little berries. Craig actually grabbed a handful of berries just now when we drove past. Tawny feather, this is a live, big African elephant walking pretty much straight towards us, and then he turned. Yeah, we're not causing him any harm. Just move away and around you as comfortable as they feel the need to be, or as close as they feel the need to be. Okay, well, we're going to follow this bull for a little bit longer. Let's go back over to Taylor and see what she's up to.
Well, look at what we've got. It looks like a bit of a crime scene, eh? But I promise you it's not. I think this is one of the darkling beetles that we're looking at. It's very pretty. They typically aren't quite round, having a sort of carapace like that with little, what would you call that? I don't even know what words I'm trying to find today. But it's got sort of a very bumpy back, and it's got a long proboscis as well. But it's pretending to be dead. I promise you it's not dead. This is actual Thanatosis, and I think when we found it, maybe a hornbill or something must have frightened it, and now it's pretending to be dead, and I'm hoping that if you sit with us for long enough, you'll actually see it wake up. Now, with Thanatosis, it depends on the species as to how long it will actually last. From what I saw, because it's just come alive again twice and then gone back to sleep, it takes about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so to a minute. I suppose it also depends on how long the threat is around. Because remember, animals only perform Thanatosis, or typically, if they feel like they are under threat in some way. You better move quickly because there's an ant coming. And it might tell its friends that you are dead when you're not. And the idea behind it is that things that catch other animals like, well, it wriggling around. I suppose it's about the thrill of having something that's alive and then being able to kill it. So if you're not moving around anymore, it might be a bit on the boring side, and then they tend to leave it alone. Please wake up. You woke up in my hand once. It's already got up, but it was quite funny the way that it sort of just stood upright. Senzo was amazed. You've never seen anything like it before, hey? I thought it was some kind of voodoo. What's going on? I'm not exactly sure how they do it. Come on, wake up. Marcy, you quite surprised at the fact that this beetle is playing dead? Well, I'm not, just because I suppose I know that lots of different beetle species, as well as snakes and some lizards and... Oh, there's a mite. Well, thank you, Rebecca. I can see the mite now. There's a little mite that's running around, probably living on this little beetle, which is quite cool. So Marcy, I'm not surprised about this. I was surprised though when we watched a mongoose who was almost like he was looking for attention. This little pup was trying to death feign in front of a yellow-billed hornbill. Now, a yellow-billed hornbill is never going to eat a mongoose. Well, I shouldn't say never, but the chances are highly unlikely. They have a completely different symbiosis where they actually help one another. So I can't imagine that this thing would just turn all of a sudden. Please wake up. I don't know. Do you think it likes my hand? Do you think maybe it's because my hand is warm? Let's try. I'll be very gentle. I've also been pressing my hand against the sand, as you can see. Ghost Tudor, no, I don't think it will bite me. It's got a long proboscis. I have been actually bitten by an assassin bug, which also has a proboscis, so I suppose it could bite, although it was crawling around on my hand, and it didn't seem to bother too much. I didn't feel it trying to bite me. It was actually just walking around. It was very relaxed. It was actually more relaxed on my hand than anything, so I wonder if it was a little bit more active because I'm obviously giving off heat, and on cooler days, insects are, not really moving around too much. Wake up! I really just wanted to get up. It will be so cool if it does. Huh. Okay, well, we'll see if we can get it to wake up again. We'll hold on to it for a little bit longer. I'm going to send you to Steve, who has got an elephant disappearing into the bushes.
Thank you, Taylor. Well, this elephant bull is slowly meandering away from the road. I'm not going to go following him off there. I know we don't get to see too many elephants the last couple of weeks, but it's been marvelous that we've been able to see this nice big bull. I thought Herbie and Taylor had seen a breeding herd of elephants, so I was quite excited to go find them. But this is the actual animal that they saw, I think, and no breeding herd to speak of. So we're going to leave him to his feeding and his slow meanderings. Casa, the tusks do appear to be quite small. The tusks are a genetic, they really are genetics, and some of the larger bulls, yes, will have bigger tusks, but you do get younger bulls with bigger tusks. It's all genetics, all the lineage. I'd say he's probably between 25 and 30, so he's quite a big boy, but it's just the genetic size that's going on there. That's all I can suggest. He doesn't have the biggest genes when it comes to tusks, and a lot of that had to do with poaching and ivory trade many years ago, that larger bulls were actually targeted for their tusks. And it's for reasons like that why down in the Addo Elephant National Park in the Eastern Cape, we for a long time didn't have any tusks in the generation or in the population, because there was an individual by the name of Pretorius who was responsible for eradicating a huge number of elephants in that area, and he got paid in ivory. So he got paid for the ivory he brought back. So he selectively only hunted or killed elephants that had ivory. We're talking over 100 years ago, but the genetic, the loss of those genetics was very profound until about maybe 40 years ago. They introduced Kruger elephants into Addo, and the tusks are coming back again. But there are a lot of elephants still there, males and females included, that have no tusks at all. And that's just a disadvantage for them when it comes to feeding, because they can't gouge the bark and access the nutrient-rich cambium, which is very necessary in the dry season. And as we know, and as we talk a lot about plants, we get lots of medicinal value from the bark in plants itself. And if you don't have a tusk, it's very difficult to do that. So, but it is natural, but obviously that bottleneck selection that man did in the Addo was a problem. So here we have got a lone male impala. He has chosen to be, oh, there's another one over there. I just caught myself out. Okay, but there's two male impala, and they are by no means in a secure sort of location. It is still a little bit windy, and they need to be able to look over their shoulder and also build up condition. So this is where the sort of the race comes in. You know, this is where the race comes in. Do the male impala start defending territories early or late? And who's going to be more successful? Sometimes some of the guys start their sort of rut or their territory demarcation maybe a little bit too early. And then by the time the mating actually happens, they've lost all their condition. And lost all their condition, then by that stage they get eaten and die, and then they don't do any breeding. So it was wasted. But anyway, that is stories that are going to continue on and on and on for the next few weeks. Let's go over to Taylor, whose Beetle has woken up.
It's woken up. Look, I told you. It is now awake. Sense, are you still shocked? He's now died 3 times for us, and now he's awake in my hand. I don't know why he loves my hand so much. He seems to be very relaxed. How cool is that? Now, I will put him down. We haven't gone far from where we were. These are incredible beetles. They're from quite a large family. There's so many of them. My favorite is actually the racing striped darkling beetle. If you want to Google it, it's quite a funny thing to look at. It's got very long legs. I'm not 100% certain if this is in fact a darkling beetle. Just it really looks like one. Or do you think it could be a weevil? A type of a weevil, maybe? I don't know. Those patterns on the back are very interesting. Either way, I don't know what it is. It's one of the two. Maybe a weevil. No, I thought darkling beetle initially. See, this is the hard part. This is where you start doubting yourself. And there's so many beetles that look like one another. Some mimic to look like certain species. So it can be a bit confusing. Let's put him down, Senzo. And release him. Bye-bye. Don't die now. We'll pretend... No, I'm not putting you near those red ants. They'll eat you. Anyways, if it is a darkling beetle, they're typically scavengers. Off we go. Both, and now it is down on the ground. Be safe. Typically scavenging off carcasses or even just rotting vegetation. They'll sort of go around and do that. Now, we stopped here and Herbie was having a look. Whose footprint is this? Well, there's a little genet track. If you'd like to have a look-see. Just over here in the mud. We're actually looking for leopard tracks. That's what we're ideally wanting to find. So, a little genet was walking here, probably late last night. Oh my god, I can't see many more tracks. But there was definitely something going on here. There are so... Oh, here's a nice one, Sensor. Yeah. That's really cool. You can quickly have a look at this. This actually says to me that it was definitely from maybe early this morning, because as it walked, see how it picked up some of that mud. Maybe even it happened at some point today, because that looks almost exactly the same. Anyways, let's go to Brent now, and I think he might also be looking at paw prints.
Well, he's still in the same spot. His head's up, so he's a little bit more alert than he was when you last were with us, which is always a good sign. As we know, he is quite hungry at the moment. Times have been tough for the former dominant male. And it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes for quarantine and Hukumuri to start pushing into this area as well. I think it's just a matter of time before they do. As I said, he is hungry, Julie, but he can still go a good couple of days, maybe even a week without a kill. Now, often when leopards are hungry like this, they will eat lots of little things that we might not see, like terrapins and squirrels and dwarf mongoose and other little sort of tidbits to just keep alive, until they are able to catch sort of something a bit more substantial. And he's a very flat cat at the moment. So I heard he did come into Chitwa camp during the day. He actually had a drink out of one of the guest room swimming pool. So if he does have any parasites, maybe the chlorine will sort him out. And as you can see, he's found a nice spot down behind the dam. There's quite a few little things around. There's some waterbuck, there's some impala, there's some bushbuck I saw a little bit earlier, all very close to here. So there's lots of opportunities. And specifically, if you just keep still here, you might get lucky enough that something might just stumble onto him or into him. And that would make his life a lot easier, of course. And at the moment, he's a very tired kitty there. Now, of course, the main reason that a leopard has spots or rosettes is for camouflage. But Katie's saying, what's the advantage of spots over stripes? That's an excellent question, Katie. Well, leopards need to, or they occur in such a varied range of habitats that spots and rosettes are more sort of useful. It works in desert, it works in forest, it works in savanna. Whereas tigers, I suppose they do have a relatively varied habitat but mostly forests, I suppose savannas. I'm not sure, Katie. I think they both work, and leopards just seem to have rosettes rather than spots. Rather than stripes. We are next to the dam here, so we might, if he doesn't move, we'll just might have a look at what's happening behind us for a little while. Now, of course, the nice thing about being around here is that Hasana might make an appearance at any moment. Well, it seems like Steve's found a bird for Draw a Bird Day.
It is Draw a Bird Day, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your screenshots immediately. I have no idea what bird this is. Absolutely no idea. I thought for a moment it was a juvenile white-crested helmet shrike, but I don't know what it is. It looks to me to be a pipit of sorts, but I don't know. Please take your screenshots and then draw your bird if you want to. We are doing a at the end of the show, a segment on all the bird pictures you have drawn. But who knows? Never stop drawing. Birds are fun. We actually stopped here. There was a wonderful bird party, and there was an orange-breasted bush shrike that I was trying very hard to get Craig to get it on camera, but they are impossible to get on camera. And off goes our little bird. Off he goes. And with that, we are going to keep moving on. Oh! He's calling now. He's on top of the tree. I know what it is now. Listen to him, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe I didn't understand what he was. It is a rattling cisticula. I think it's a juvenile. He's not making the full call. But anyway, sorry about that. But still take your screenshots. It is one of those funny little brown jobs. that we see. And if you're not familiar with the word little brown job, LBJs, those little funny ones that are very hard to identify. You need to take photos of them to be able to get them. And the rattling testicular is one of those until it calls. When it calls, very, very easy. Very, very easy. Okay, so as we promised, we're going to move up towards Buffelshoek Dam area to see if we can pick up on any activity of the Unkelhumas. And Lucy, a bird here that mimics like a mockingbird. I don't really know anything about a mockingbird, but we do get birds here. The forktail drongo is a very good mimicker. So is the Sabota lark, as well as the tropical boo-boo adds in, or the southern boo-boo adds in a whole lot of different calls. The white browed scrub robin. Those three birds, I'd say, are the most sort of elaborate in their mimicry. And yeah, we do see all of them quite regularly. And they are those birds that can confuse you because they make up all sorts of weird and wonderful jumbles in their call. The white-browed scrub robin will always do a 3-note repeated. So if you hear something you're not sure and it kind of goes 3 times and then it goes 3 times and then after about 3 minutes it changes to another 3 notes repeated. When in doubt, white-browed scrub robin. Also very hard to get them on camera because, as the name scrub robin implies, they like to hide in the bushes. So I know when we started my segment, when we started with the first technical glitches, we were discussing heading up towards Buffelshoek Dam because the Unkelhuma pride was seen in the north fighting with the Torchwood pride, and after a fight like that, it's quite common for cats to go and have something to drink and to cool down somewhere. So a good bet would be to go and check the dam. And I'm feeling lucky. Craig, you feeling lucky? Craig's feeling lucky. What do you folks feel? Are we feeling lucky today? I think so. Nix Achbex is feeling lucky. The wind has calmed down a little bit. It's still windy, but it was very blustery before. Let's go over to Taylor and see how lucky she's feeling.
What's wrong with everyone today? We're feeling... Herbie, how lucky are we feeling? How lucky are we feeling? We're not sure today. We're deciding. We've seen, by the way, we found female leopard tracks, which is a good sign. So we're one step closer to where from where we were a bit earlier, but nothing just yet. We've seen sort of 2 conflicting tracks. We've seen sort of some going towards like the elephant carcass, which is a little bit south from here, and then we had other tracks going north along Shibamo. We don't know what's happening now. It's been so windy, so the tracks that are in the sand look super disturbed, but I know that could just be playing tricks on us. So what we thought we'd do is just come along here to these little pans and see if anybody's popped on down for a drink. But it doesn't look like it just yet. We'll just keep checking the edges and see if there's any spiders and things moving around on the water's surface. Nothing just yet. It's a bit quiet everywhere. Over that. Where's everything gone? The other days we'd come down here and it would just be amazing. Filled with all sorts of life. Not so much now. Okay. Oh, there's a spider, Senzo. I have one. You're also going to hop over. You're going to have to come this side. Oh. Just over there. Can you see it? And there's a grasshopper. Can you see the grasshopper moving in the water, Senzo? So you got the spider, hey? Now, I wonder, because that's a water spider, I wonder if it's going to go towards where that grasshopper is. It's desperately flailing and trying to get out, trying to use that algae. But is that going to lure the spider in? Does it know that there's potentially a meal for it? A spider of that size, I think, would be able to, well, catch it, but too late. Lucky grasshoppers made an escape and landed safely on a piece of grass. Unfortunate for the spider. It'll have to try and find something else. Good luck. Off we go. Righty-tighty. I don't know why I said righty-tighty. Where did Herbie go now? He's here somewhere. He's just checking. May have gone back onto the road again. This is a nice little jacuzzi. Hey? That's quite nice. If I was a warthog, that would be fabulous. But there's no warthogs, and I'm not getting in it. Seeing we get lots of different types of butterflies. Unfortunately, not many of them out at the moment. We're seeing a lot of African monarchs. We see a lot of hairtails, acrias. Lizard. Can you see it, Senzo? There's a lizard. If you walk towards me, I'm the distraction. You see where all those sticks are? Come closer to me. In there. There is a... I don't know how to point it. There's sort of a stick that runs like this. Yeah. And then you see where it touches some other sticks? Yeah. Just in there. If you go up a little bit, I think. Wait, can you zoom out for me? I'm just having a look to try and find it. Okay. So... let me try and put my hand in. It's kind of over there somewhere. I think even maybe a little further down. We're just trying to find it. It's in there. Where are you? Oh, you've got it. You've got it, Senzo. There. There's its little head. A little sand-felt lizard of sorts. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. No. There's its head. Look, I'm just pointing to Senzo. Yeah. There we go. So there it is. Terrified as the giants were walking through the grass and just desperately trying to escape us, but also not be out in the open, because we know that, well, there's lots of hornbills around here and they would love to eat a lizard like this. Many different things. Lizard buzzards would like to eat something like this, and there's been a couple of them around. So it's going to stay hidden in that pile of grass. Probably going towards the water's edge, which will be a great place for it to go to, because there seems to be lots of insects. We saw that grasshopper that it landed in. That lizard wouldn't be afraid to run to the edge of the water and grab something like that. Or perhaps it's looking for some flies that have sat down to rest for the day. That would also be quite good. Right, it seems as though Tingana is enjoying a Sunday siesta. When will he wake up? I'm not sure. Let's go and see if he's shown any signs of waking up just yet.
Well, I just got some good news that I've passed on to Steve, that there is a male lion apparently visible from the boundary, Gowrie Main with Gowrie Main. So that's good news. So he's going to go see if, I'm sure Steve will see if we can find that male lion. Tingana, however, has not moved a muscle. So let's maybe try move around, get a different view of him while he's still snoozing down there, now that we're the only people here. Patience pays off when it comes to big cat sightings. Not the best view of him. Let me just try if I can get a little window for VM to see his face. I think it's about as good as it gets, VMP. Now, Child of the Universe is asking about females' sexual selection of males. They don't really have, they're not too picky. They will mate with any male that is dominant and in the area that surrounds their territory. Now, they won't mate with young males that are not going to hang around, but they will mate with any dominant adult male who holds territory, even that holds territory outside of their natal home range. And that's so that if the male happened to take over from one of the other males, the fact is that this male might believe that the cubs are his. you go. So he's hungry. There's lots of food around, and also, of course, staying here is always good because Hosana might make an appearance to come harass Tingana as well. Poor tired kitty. Okay, well, it sounds like Steve is on his way to look for some lions, so let's go join him.
Yes, we are still heading in the direction of where I potentially think the lions may be. I mean, we're only about 5 minutes away from Buffelshoek Dam. Obviously, we've taken a bit of a detour. We were almost here earlier, and then we went back because we had some technical issues with the vehicle, as I'd said so before. But it seems like signal is staying nice and strong with us now, and we'll be at the dam in a few minutes. And hopefully, we'll find ourselves some lions. Wouldn't that be marvelous for the afternoon? I won't jinx. Sorry, Conrad. Conrad's the tech, my very good friend in the FC there, who does all the technical stuff. And I'm sure by the end of the week he's going to have far less hair on his head. Because he said, don't jinx it, please. Sorry, Conrad. I won't jinx it. Everything seems to be good for the moment. What a marvelous afternoon. It's so nice having this breeze. It really cools things down. Takes the edge off things, so to speak. And as I think Brent already said, the beautiful thing about wind is that you often will find predators actually moving because of the ability to stalk and hunt with a little bit less stealth. And also the wind picks up the smell of the animals and brings it towards them. And it's like chocolate cake to those who enjoy chocolate. It's irresistible, so to speak. But I don't know if you folks on the camera can, you viewers at home, can notice how green everything is from that rain we had 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, I can't remember, but there's such a green tinge to everything. All the grasses are sort of flushing again, and it's very, very cool to see every single little mud wallow pan I've gone past is full. The only concern is Weird-tailed or Juba Dam is looking very, very low in water. Ooh, something in the eye. I don't know why it is so low. It must have a really bad catchment because the rain we had the other night. Okay. There come the gremlins. Let's go over to that flat cat, Tingana.
Well, he is truly still a very flat cat. So we are hoping he is going to get moving at some point today. But it is still quite warm, and as I said, he was quite active today. He went into Chitwa Lodge, he had a drink in the pool, he tried to look for some bushbuck in camp and went to visit the staff village. So he did have a bit of a busy day after we left him this morning, but he hasn't moved very far in total. Oh, yeah. Sorry, just the radio's going at the moment. So as you can see, he's still sleeping. Okay, well, he continues to nap. Let's send you back to Taylor. Hopefully he'll be up on the move shortly.
Look at this. It is the biggest crab spider I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so fat. So fat. I'm actually showing you. I'm just turning it to have a look myself. And sitting on a Weltheria plant, hoping that some bees, maybe that bee fly, perhaps some ants, or maybe even little beetles of sorts and bugs, or come and feast off of the flowers, off of the nectar, the pollen that the Weltheria flowers will have. So they don't make a web, they need to hunt actively. Normally they're well camouflaged, and well, in this case you can see it's not particularly well camouflaged, but if it just sits very still, it might get lucky, and something won't spot it. Oh, and there's something else, but that's quite cool, it's quite big. I'm going to show you another thing, Senzo. This looks like a little wee. No, it's quick. Go on, go, show yourself to us. Go on, here we go. Is that behaving well, Senzo? Let me move that for you. And just encourage it to go that way. So a little weevil by the looks of it. Also feasting on the flowers. And then there's even a little ant. Can you see it? You might have to turn around just slightly, just up on top. Yeah, there's lots of these little weevils actually. So going back to the spider, Joy, I can't see if it's upside down. Let me find it for you. Okay, so if you look at it this way, I'm going to try and hold the Weltheria stems quite steady. Its head is up here. So its head is at the top, and the rest of it is its cephalothorax. There's no difference between abdomen and a thorax. It's sort of just one with a spider. And what is sitting on my arm? No, it's gone now. Little mapani flies, I think, trying to get all the sweat and all sorts of other things. But quite cool, very pretty. It's a really fat one, though. I wonder if it's a female. I mean, my hand obviously dwarfs a spider, but in comparison to the other crab spiders we have seen, it's probably about 4 or 5 times that size. So it just goes to show there's lots and lots of different things. Oh, here's mating beetles. Mating little weevils, sorry. Can you see them? I'm going to put my hand at the back. There they are, just to keep it nice and still. They don't seem to be too bothered by me doing what they've got to do. Make little baby weevils. Very cool. There we go. Bex, did you say Beth or Ben? Sorry, each time it's broken up. I think you've said Beth as who I'm going to be answering now. There we go. Wonderful. No, that's perfect. I've got it now. So, hello, young Taylor, who's only 10 years old, mini-me. I don't know if you've even got blonde hair. Maybe you do have blonde hair. Perhaps your mom can send a photo in for you. I believe your mom has just told us that you're quite scared of insects and geckos and lizards. I promise you, there's nothing that you need to be worried about. Obviously, you don't want to touch any insects that you don't know. So unless you know what it is, rather not handle it. And it's actually just best to leave them on their plants. They'll be quite happy. Like, I wouldn't pick that spider up just because I know I'm going to upset it. The only spiders that I will touch, and I'm also don't like spiders very much, not on me, I like to look at them, is a jumping spider, because it's really cool. You can make them jump from one hand to another. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you can ask your mom to try and help you find and identify a jumping spider, because they're quite easy to sort of find. They're very hairy, and that's how I got over my sort of fear of spiders, is that I put one on my hand and then I realized that they would jump from surface to surface. And when you look at them up close, they've got so many eyes, and big buggy eyes, and they're really hairy and they're quite pretty. And you think to yourself, how is that a scary little thing? So you don't worry about it too much. But I probably wouldn't pick up a cockroach, so you don't have to touch all the insects. You don't have to give them big cuddles. Sometimes it's nice to just watch them from a distance. But I promise you, you don't need to scream. You don't need to do any of those things, because they are more terrified of you than you are of them. So I'd like to see a picture, Taylor, of you and a bug, and see if we can get over your fear together. Anyways, Steve, however, is not looking at creepies and crawlies. He's at Buffelshoek Dam, and he's got some rather large mammals in the water.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Taylor. And there is the male hippo. And he is joined by 2 females who just went underwater before you came to us. And it's quite nice to see a resident hippo here now with a lady or 2. His little pod, the swimming specialists of the African wilderness. Here we go. They're doing a little bit of diving for themselves. They don't have any of the technical equipment that we need for diving. And on that note, we are going to be, Wild Earth is starting a new project called Dive Live. which we are very excited about. And the support is coming through. We appreciate all the feedback, and we've put together a little something from hippos diving in the African savanna to humans diving in the ocean.
I started my career as a scuba diving instructor, and I was lucky enough to travel all around the world diving in the most spectacular locations. And now we're going back to my roots. Our new mission is to take you live underwater scuba diving. What we're going to do is we're going to have a marine biologist underwater with a full face mask so that they can answer your questions and talk to you in real time.
Lynn on Twitter, it's awesome to have you with us. It is incredible for me as well.
You'll be able to sit in your living room at home and ask a question about the underwater world to somebody who's under the ocean on the other side of the planet.
To be able to be live from underwater is magical. On the one Moorish island, you'll see a small cleaner rat that is actually cleaning little parasites off of that Moorish island.
We are developing a system that will allow us to talk underwater, for you to be able to hear us clearly. It's a real challenge. It's never been done before properly. We're coming along really well.
Leopard moray eel, look at that.
The next thing to do is to get a team out, to get a boat, to set up camp, and to start getting it all up and running. The incredible diversity of fish and coral will blow your mind. Dive Live is the way we're going to get everybody in the world the opportunity to connect with nature. This is our mission.
There's a quote from Jane Goodall, and that is, "Only if we understand will we care, only if we care will we help, and only if we help will all be saved."
We are a community from all over the world that get together a couple of times a day to share our passion and love of nature.
Can you believe that?
We broadcast Safari Live into schools around the world, which enables the future custodians of our planet, the students, to fall in love with nature.
That whole Safari Live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
If you pledge to this Dive Live project and come on this mission with us, you'll be able to be there for the first month, which will be a private access experience where you can help us develop Dive Live into being what we believe it can be. But then also, you'll be able to join us virtually on our premiere party after our first public broadcast.
So join us in testing the technology, finding the experts, and setting up camp.
This is such a great opportunity for us to make a difference. We can get people all around the world to fall in love with our oceans, and that's such an important thing to do. Come along with us. It's our mission, make it yours, and we can make a real difference.
There he is. Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little segment. We are still with our hippos. Hello. He just popped his head down. It is a little bit cold with the wind. The wind has picked up quite dramatically since we've been sitting here at the dam. And look at what we spotted with our eagle eyes. What is that? What could that be? Looks like a puddle of lions, ladies and gentlemen. The Unkuhuma prize. Yay! They are lying up just on the other side of the dam from where we are. I've had them there before a couple times, and they look like they are very, very relaxed. I can't see how many animals are there. There's a few of them lying flat in the grass, so we're going to go around onto the other side there and see if we can get a better visual. I think it's the Unkuhumas. I'm only guessing that. I know the Torchwoods were seen interacting with the Unkuhumas this morning, and I've never seen the Torchwood Pride come into Djuma, so I'm assuming that it must be lions that we know quite well, but very hard to see. You can't see any recognition of them because they are flat and far away. So our hippos are submerged again, and we're going to start up and go around onto the other side and get a nice closer look at these cats. Everyone's keen, I'm sure. Linda and Giraffe Girl, thank you very much. You know, there is luck in the air. And it's what you've noticed, those of you who watch the show, is that these animals, they follow water. You know, they need to drink. And when it gets hot, just go have a look around the shady spots. I mean, you can obviously hear often how whenever we go on drive, we always go and check the water points. It's always a good sort of starting point to see these animals will be. And yeah, so there we are. Marvelous, marvelous stuff. And they were almost visible until the one raised his head. So, Alicia, a human would most certainly get sick if they drank that water just like that. But there are ways of filtering it. You know, when you do wilderness safaris, you'll quite often take either iodine tablets or fluoride tablets, should I say, and you put next to a water source.
Oh dear. Seems like Steve's fighting off some gremlins. Hopefully he'll be back with the incredible Nkahumas soon. As you can see, Mr. T is still an absolute flat cat. Almost looks like he's really, really enjoying his late afternoon snooze. There's a strange noise I've been hearing, and I'm trying to figure out what it was, but I actually think it's wind going through the tower. Did you hear it, Fiam? Wah, wah. Anyway, looks like we'll be okay though. It's very, very peaceful here at the dam at the moment. With a very, very peaceful big cat. He gets moving shortly. Now, he's quite an old leopard, our Mr. T, and Safari Kid is mostly, even though it's probably could have been from a few scratches from a fight with another leopard, but most of the damages to his ear are made by a very small species of fly called a stable fly, and those bites on his ears actually cause the older leopards that have had the bites for many, many, many moons to actually become quite affected by it, as you can see. If we could have a look at the back of it, you would be able to see quite clearly the damage that those flies have inflicted on the leopard's ears. He's a very, very relaxed kitty at the moment, though. It's always nice to spend quality time with the cats, even when they are snoozing rather than being active. And you've got to spend the long hours with them to get that incredible activity from time to time. Because otherwise, if you rush off too soon, you're not going to see that incredible behavior. How old's Tingana now? 12. I think he's around 12. Amsterdam, life expectancy of a leopard, a wild leopard, can vary quite heavily. We had a male called Marula. I think he managed to survive to about 14 as he sort of evaded the other big males, including this one. But generally, between 12 and 14 is the life expectancy of a male leopard in the wild. And then life expectancy of a female is generally a little bit longer, maybe up to 15, 16. But he's been pushed into a very small area now by 2 other males. So he's sort of at the retirement village here next to the dam. There's lots of food around, there's lots of water. He doesn't have to move too far to get everything he needs. Okay, we're going to wait here a little bit longer to see what happens. And let's go see Steve, who's got the smallest member of the order Carnivora.
Yes, we do. Oh, and there he goes. Did you see him, ladies and gentlemen? He was busy shouting at us. It was a little dwarf mongoose. He was doing a bit of a head bobble, but from the smallest carnivore, we have 2. The Nkuhuma puddle. Or as Beck said in my ear, a Christmas bed. And for those of you out there who have never heard of a Christmas bed, it's when you have families around and all the kids, and you throw all the mattresses together in the lounge with all sorts of blankets and pillows and put on a DVD or 2, and then all the kids sort of slumber together in one big Christmas bed. It's something we refer to in South Africa whenever a whole lot of you jump together on one bed. I still do it as well, Bex. Bex says she still does it. I still do it. It's quite fun. And then we need popcorn and chocolate. Mongooses have come back, but I'm not sure if they're going to stay. They're just here. How cute are they? So at least 3 of them a moment ago. Another adventurous one to the left. Having a little bit of a groom. Beautiful little place for them to hide. Last time, actually, with Craig, he was out with me. We were just maybe 150 meters or so, just a bit further east from where we are right now. And we had the Nkuhumas lying up on a termite mound. And then right at the end of show, just as we ended, a family of dwarf mongooses erupted out of the termite mound, and the lions, including the adult lionesses, ran and jumped, and it was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. And then they'd jump and land on the hole the mongoose disappeared in, and then like tentatively lift up their paw to look underneath to see what exactly they might have caught, but they didn't catch anything. They're just way too fast. Back to the puddle. What is he doing there? Is he busy eating? She. Busy eating a stick, keeping the teeth clean. They do look rather hungry. Their bellies are rather empty. You see this one on the far right, Craigo? The far right there, you can just see on her bum, she's got a bit of a wound there. That looks like it's new. I wonder, Bex, have we seen this wound yet? It's not that injured lioness. I mean, they interacted with the Torchwoods this morning. Apparently there was quite a bit of hustle and bustle between them. Tristan is actually showing me a little video. Nikki knows the lions very well by their faces, but not by their bottoms. What was that? But you can see lions every single day, and something can happen in the night, and you'll see them the next day, and there can be all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But they definitely had an interaction, and I would be surprised if there are no fresh scars or injuries on any of these animals. Because a territorial dispute between lionesses can be very, very, very aggressive. They are fighting for everything they hold dear to themselves. But then Brent did tell me that they actually are related, the Torchwood Pride and the Unkuhumas. So I didn't know that. Very interesting. So maybe that's why in the video that we saw it wasn't such an aggressive sort of attack. It was more posturing and growling and a lot of chasing, and a few individuals got a bit of a hiding, but it was nothing like what you see when the going is very tough. You can see lions, they will actually they'll kill each other if they can. Oh, what have you spotted there, youngster? Corin, I am trying to do a head count. I'll reposition shortly and see if we can get the rest of them. But I've counted, I think, 10. I believe Brent said this morning that they only saw 10. They didn't see 11. But we'll do a count shortly and we'll make sure that they're all here. But I first counted, I only saw 6, and then slowly more and more. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to hold off speaking for a little bit while we do a broadcast. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Djuma in the Sabi Sands, South Africa. We are sitting with the pride of lions called the Nkuhuma Pride, which numbers up to 11 individuals. We're up in the northeastern section of Djuma itself, and my name is Steve Falconbridge. Good afternoon, welcome, and I'm joined by Craig on camera, and we are in the heart of South Africa and the heart of the wilderness, and this is a tourism destination of note. The Nkuhuma Pride, which we see lying very, very flat at the moment, had an interaction with another pride just to the north of us this morning, and one of the landowners to the north actually took a video to show the interaction as it took place. And as we know, lion prides and lions that we find all over the African continent and here are very well documented in the Sabi Sands, South Africa, and that is because we do get to spend a lot of time with them. Reese, I haven't seen a male with this pride for some time. There's reports on the radio that there's a male lion right down in the far southwest, to the complete opposite corner of Djuma itself. And he, or the Birmingham boys as they are called, are the dominant pride males. They will look over most of the prides in the area, and they don't take part in any of these pride disputes. The pride disputes are tackled between the lionesses. What we're looking at here is the family unit, the lionesses who dominate and lead the pride wherever it goes, and that's made up of their offspring. And in this pride is only one juvenile male of about 16, 17 months old. So the cubs are still quite young. There is one of the cubs there, about the same sort of age. It's trying to get nice and close and personal with its mother. Bit of grooming. Hazel, they are such beautiful creatures, and we are so blessed to be able to spend time with them. And in places like the Sabi Sands, if you do ever decide to come and visit, you can get up close and personal with these cats. You can get some amazing photography, and it is also a world-class destination for leopard. Don't think because we can get close and personal that these animals are tame. They are by no means tame. The habituation process that's gone on for many, many years with regards to game viewers is exactly what enables us to view them from such a close distance. So the temperatures are quite warm in the daytime, but we're going to go to my friend Brent, who's sitting with another very special cat.
Yes, and South Africa is an absolutely amazing place to see the big cats of Africa, and we are still sitting with this male leopard. His name is Tingana, and he was huge amounts of pressure from Hukumuri and quarantine, so he's shrunk His territory shrunk enormously. The moment he's looking a little bit hungry, he's looking a little bit worse for wear. He's had a tough couple of months, and he's lost probably 3/4 of his territory in the last year to other male leopards moving in, but he is still one of the most beautiful cats I've had the privilege of spending many, many hours with. Hi, Steph. Steph, we are currently in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, which is about 60,000 hectares, about 150,000 acres. We are sitting on an exquisite property called Chitwa Private Game Reserve, and there are different sizes, but Chitwa's probably got traverse of around 10,000 hectares or so. So you're able to traverse and in a day very easily see all of Africa's big five. Isn't that beautiful? Zwase animals in the Kruger are not tame at all. They are wild, but they are habituated to the use of vehicles. So if you were to get out of the car, he would probably run away and or behave aggressively. So they are used to the vehicles. However, they are still 100% wild. The greater Kruger ecosystem is 2.7 million hectares, over 5 million acres of unfenced wilderness. Okay, now isn't this incredible? We're able to explore Africa on foot as well. So let's go across to my friend Taylor.
It is pretty amazing to be walking around in an area infested with leopards and lions. Well, infested sounds like a bad word, doesn't it? But it isn't. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Senzo, and we are walking around out here in the Sabi Sandwiltuin in the Great Kruger National Park. Now, we are being very careful as we walk. I'm going to go this way around, and I'll meet you on the other side. We are not necessarily looking for the bigger animals today. We've been focusing on a lot of small things. We've been seeing really cool spiders, really cool bee flies and velvet ants and grasshoppers and all sorts of amazing things out here, which is really, really cool. And that's just one of the greatest activities that, sorry, Senzo almost got caught on a tree. One of the activities you can do while you're out here on safari. One thing that Senzo's got to do, though, with all his camera equipment is be very, very careful that he doesn't trip over anything. Now, we did have an elephant bull not too far away from here. He was moving in this direction, going towards some pans, so we're really hoping we might be able to bump into him. It has also been exceptionally windy today, which is not the greatest thing when you're out on a bushwalk because, well, it inhibits you being able to hear very well, and we rely on our senses exceptionally well out here when you're on foot. Cindy, you've said it's only 20 hours to New York, from New York to Johannesburg. What are you waiting for? Jump on a plane, come and join us. Perhaps I could take you out on a bushwalking experience. And so that's the plan, is we're actually aiming for these little mud wallows that are not too far away because it's been really hot. The wind is now dying down, so it's turning out to be the most perfect afternoon for a bushwalk. And perhaps we're going to get the largest land mammal having a mud bath within just a few meters away. So we'll keep our eyes out and hopefully find some really cool things. I'm going to send you over to Steve, who's not too far away from me, probably just a few kilometers away, where he's got some hippo.
Yes, and you're back with us, and we are still at the dam, Bilvershoek Dam, and we don't just have lions and leopards here. We've also got very large hippopotamus living in the dams as well. And they are so important for the diversity of these rivers and dams because of the organic material that they deliver in the river in the form of their dung, which feed numerous amounts of vegetation-eating fish, and there's plenty of birds that feed on them. And so with the hippos, we have now got a couple of the lions still with us here with their heads up. Isn't that a gorgeous young animal? A youngster of about 14, 15 months of age. doing very, very well in this pride. Mohammed from the DRC, welcome. I'm so happy to have you on the show. Marvelous. I suppose it's quite nice for you with the time. The DRC is probably quite similar. Oh, look at those teeth. Quite similar with regards to the time. I know a lot of our other viewers are either watching very early or very late in the evening. Isn't that beautiful? You see the pink on the nose is often something to look at for age. Giraffe girl, you need to come. It is on your bucket list. It is a wonderful place to come. Look at those teeth. So often lions, when they start licking themselves, will then, or start yawning, they'll start licking, and then up they'll get and start doing some movement. You might first see an ablution stop, so they start with some grooming, start with some licking. They might have a toilet stop. Koki, the African lion, is Panthera leo, and I think the lions that you might find else, I'm trying to think where else you find lions in the world. I've hit an absolute blank right now. I know that they are unique. This species is unique to Africa. It might move through into sort of the Middle East area, but I honestly do not have an answer for you right there. Terribly sorry. And here, one of the lapwings in the background. Fantastic, Giraffe girl, with your safari savings. Keep up the good work. We look forward to seeing you on the African continent in Djuma, Sabi-San, South Africa in the near future. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this very short broadcast. I hope you have a marvelous evening further. If you'd like to watch more, please Google Safari Live and continue the show. Have a good evening. There we go, and now back up. Look at her bum. Oh, that looks so sore, doesn't it? It looks like it's been opened. It was looking a lot better the other day, and it's possible that she got into the altercation again. Oh, shame. What a pity. But they're starting to get up. The wind is up. Much cooler than it was half an hour ago. Time for a bit of play. She is the oldest lioness in the pride, and she's still doing rather well. She's potentially the mother to most of them, or granny anyway. Mina, I think they do develop arthritis. I can't tell you for sure, but one thing that you do see in lions in sort of the Kruger Park area is they do develop TB, and they start losing condition at an older age, and the TB is derived from the buffalo, and you'll often see them suddenly losing a lot of condition, getting very skinny, and the bones stick out, and they seem to get swellings on the elbows, almost like a gout, but it is in fact actually TB that they've contracted. And whether that's got anything to do with your question about arthritis, I'm not sure, but it seems like they do get a bit old and stiff. But whether it's actually a diagnosed disease or affliction, I'm not 100% sure. But look at that, Craigo. We have got some enormous clouds building up on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. And have a look at that. That is a huge development coming in from the west. We're going to watch it very carefully, because that could get everybody very wet. But it could be the rains that we are looking for, the rains that will fill this dam up to the brim, hopefully the Vuurtele Dam as well, or it could just tease us and just swoop straight past in the opposite direction. We're not sure. Oh, there's some lovely grooming going on there. Oh, Mom, this is just such a nice life. So I'm trying to see that youngster. One of the youngsters had a very bad eye last time I saw them. but I haven't quite seen it yet. They haven't all risen or lifted their heads up yet. This youngster is looking in fine condition. Very loved. Oh, well, actually, there's two of them getting licked at the same time there. How marvelous is that? Hey, that's how you do it, Mom, when you got more than one cub. Just lick across. There's a little bit of jealousy going on there. My turn, my turn. Nope, she's going to lick herself. Hopefully they'll get up and get quite playful with us again, as we've seen them before. I think I was with Dave that one afternoon in the Milwaukee, where the cubs all started jumping up and playing. And there seems to be some movement here, some youngsters. There we go. Up they climb, increasing the size of the puddle. There we go. I'll just lie right on your face. That's a Christmas bed indeed. Okay, so that's another youngster. Its eyes looking fine. That's three youngsters there. Its eyes are looking fine to me. So I'm thinking the one that we used to see is a little bit more on the left. Maybe it will show itself soon. There's one of the adults. Now it's her turn for some love. Reciprocating. It's marvelous that we're able to spend time like this with wild cats. Caleb, how many lions to take down a hippo? Sir, that is an enormous number. I watched video years ago. Friends of mine were doing work for National Geographic, and they filmed 20 lions on the back of a hippo, and the hippo still won that battle. So a hippo is not to be messed with. They really are an enormous animal with a really low sense of gravity. So you first need to be able to pull it down, and then you need to be able to suffocate it, and it's very hard to do. I don't think, you need to be a really big pride of lions with a few males. I'd say more than 20 with some males in there could probably do it, but the risks involved are enormous. Bless you. There's the cat stretch. The yoga lovers out there, that was a beautiful cat stretch. Peggy, this is the time of day lions start getting up and getting mobile, and they will hunt now if something presents itself, or they'll start moving in that direction to hunt. But if anything does happen, if something happened to come across them while they were lying here, they would definitely try and pull it down. Most definitely. Okay, so I'm having a look at another youngster there. Okay, well, our lions have started to move. Brent has moved off because his Tingana is nice and flat. And let's see what he's up to.
Well, he was so flat and there were so many cars trying to get in there. And it seems like he's the only leopard that's been found. So there's a lot of cars there, so lots of traffic. So we're going to move off. I want to go see which male lion that one is on our boundary. So we're going to go have a quick look there, and then maybe Shadulu's got up and about. And you never know in this area. Hosanna could pop out at any moment. Very strange weather this afternoon. I don't think we're going to get any rain out of it. Too windy. Generally, if you get rain, you don't get a lot of wind beforehand. Oh, there's a Sana around. Yeah, he likes this spot quite often. Around the little pan up here. Going to be on the game drive radio quickly to find out how many people are at the lion. How many stations with the male lion at Triple M going, man? Copy, thanks. Please take standby 1. Okay, so we are first standby, so we'll just slowly edge our way in that direction. Now, someone else who seems to be moving quite slowly this afternoon is Taylor McCurdy, so let's see where she's off to next.
Ooh, live. Was that thunder? I think I did just hear a bit of thunder in the distance. I think there's going to be a big storm coming over. Actually, come look here. Look at it coming in. Herbie says it's wind. I didn't know wind had a color, though. He's gone now. It looks like all the dust has been stirred up. We always tease on another. But you can just sort of see coming from the far east. And Brent was saying that there seemed like there was a storm off the coast of Mozambique, which most certainly would get us. We're only about 150 kilometers as the crow flies from Mozambique. Can you believe that? Obviously, if you go along the roads, it's probably about, I don't know, 200 and something kilometers away, something like that, maybe a bit more, maybe close to 300 Ks. But we're not going to be going to the beach today, unfortunately. I would love to go there. However, it would be quite nice. Work on my sock tan, get rid of that. Now, we're just slowly making our way back up towards quarantine because I have a sneaky suspicion with all this cloud cover coming in. Not a sneaky suspicion, it's obvious that the clouds are going to cover the sun. It's going to get a lot darker, a lot quicker, and earlier than it normally would. So we want to be prepared. We want to make sure we aren't too far away from home. So we'll go bumble about on quarantine. No luck on that leopard, though. The ground was just so badly disturbed, it was almost impossible for us to actually see what was going on. The tracks that we were looking at, I mean, they looked like they were about 6 days old, but they weren't, because you could see they were over the top of the vehicle tracks from this morning's safari. It was just very difficult, and Shibamu is not the greatest road to track on. There are big sections with sort of hard gravelled areas, so we decided to sort of just move out, especially with a fading light. And we've been looking for insects. I've once seen a ladybug down here. Maybe we'll see another ladybug. I don't know. Oxpeckers. Don't think we'll be able to see them. They're flying overhead of us now. Going to look for a spot to roost. I'm sure we can just hear that as they fly. So up we go. Let's check. There's some more grassy sections coming up. Maybe we'll find some more. Oh, very nice. Well, something Senzo and I should probably do is hydrate, but the Nkahuma lionesses are on it.
Yes, rehydration is good, just like these lions now are rehydrating. So lioness right here next to our car. We'll look at in a moment once we finish watching these lions drink, who's got a damaged eye. I have not been able to find the youngster with an injured eye, which is marvelous to see. It's as if it's just healed in the space of about 4 days. When last did I see them? Yeah, it was last week. So there are 11 lions here. They are all looking in really good condition. A few cuts and scratches. As I said, we'll show you this one lioness soon. She's got a bit of an injured eye. Male lions generally fight against each other, but if a male lion is threatening a pride, he's threatening the cubs, it is not uncommon for females to gang up and to repel a male lion. It does often happen, and but see there, she's the blind one actually. She's pretty. She used to be called Pretty. But there's another one on the right of me here that's going to walk past us soon that's got something really weird in its eye. First is going to go find out what that little one's playing with. It's found a little... what are you doing? Found a little bit of plastic piping. Oh, I apologize for that, folks. And you see there's something wrong with her eye there. If we can get in on that eye. What are you doing? Wonder if that's her youngster. Well, we are surrounded by lions at the moment, folks. See, look at that. It's a weird blood vessel type of thing. Very hard to explain. But the eye is fine. It's a little bit of a sty or something.
Hi everyone, welcome back. It seems like Steve's having some problems. And we are making our way towards that male lion now. And then hopefully Shidulu will be around as well. And this is where she crossed in earlier today and had a drink, so she could have lain up in the thicket somewhere. Now, for sensitive viewers, I'm going to warn you about this male lion before we get there. He's not in good shape. He is a Majingalan male lion, and he is right at the end of his life. Apparently, he is very emancipated, so he's not well. And he was trying to follow the Nkahumas this morning to try to see if he could get an easy meal. So I don't know if it's a lion we've ever seen before, the Majingalans. Not in my time. Vim's never seen a Majingalan either. But apparently he is very, very ill. I'm not Tristan will know better than me. The Majingalans arrived after I left the Sabi Sands, but I think he must be 13, 14. So that's old for a male lion. Now, remember, this is the African wild. This stuff happens every day. We can't only show you the popcorn, or sort of the popcorn and ice cream. Everything's pretty, everything's nice. So this is still a very interesting scenario. And a lot of people ask what happens to a male lion when he gets old. So this is a very good opportunity for us to show you what happens to a male lion. Now, he might even, apparently he's so bad that he might even be killed by the females if they decided to turn on him. The Nkahumas might. He's not a Birmingham. They still have sub-adults. The Birminghams found him. They would definitely kill him. So the same goes for the Evokers. They would take that opportunity to remove an adult male lion out of the system. So just so everyone is warned, if you are sensitive, you might not want to see this lion. So he should be around here somewhere. We're getting close. Well, I head towards the sad lion sighting. Let's go to Taylor, who's going to cheer you up with some pictures from Draw a Bird Day.
The sad lion sighting? That sounds terrible. Anyways, look what we've got for you, something that you're not allowed to see. A rhinoceros. That is in the form of my cell phone cover. I suppose I need this now, don't I? As most of you know, it is World Draw a Bird Day, and I hope that you put your pens to the paper and had a bit of fun. I know I did, and mine was absolutely horrific. So, I have two of my favorite bird pictures. And this one is called The Purple Bird, and it was drawn by our very own Tula Ann and Tucker. Well done. That's very, very good. I absolutely love it. And then there's one more. No, that's a plant. Which way is the phone going to make a turn? Oh, this is always the difficult part. Technology really doesn't like me. It doesn't want to stay. We might have to... It doesn't want to stay. Okay, Senzo, I think we may have won. There we go, we won. I figured it out. Look at me go. Hey, so technologically advanced. Samu, thank you so much for drawing this. I'm trying to guess what it is. Is it a African green pigeon? Or is it a parakeet? I'm not actually sure. You're going to have to tell me which one it is. But well done. I couldn't decide who was the winner between the two of you because you both did such an the three of you, because all three of you did an outstanding job. That's what I'm trying to say. So well done. Very nice. I might have to try and have them printed out and put in my room. So we're still making our way up towards the big wide open plains of Quarantine and hope to see our friend the wildebeest one last time before the sun sets behind the horizon. But we've still got a little way to go. And now, what we're also going to do is Herbie at some point is going to draw a bird. I think what we might do, because he's up there and I saw him practicing in the sand, is we might try and catch up to him, sit him down on a log and get him to draw us a bird. Right, off you go to Steve, who's still with the hippos.
Yes, we are. We are with the lions, and these hippo came quite close to the bank, and we're displaying at the waiting lions, showing them their teeth, that they're much bigger than the lion's teeth, and the lions are very interested, and we're giving them a proper little stare down. Now we've got 4 of the adult lioness and a youngster lying right next to our car. I dare even start the engine, they are so close. You can see a bit of the door in the bottom right-hand frame of the picture there. They are yawning. Soon, I'm sure, after their drink, they will be getting ready to move in a certain direction, and we check which direction the wind is coming from. Wind is coming kind of from the west, which is to go directly south or north from here. So let's hope they choose to go south. If they go south, we'll be able to, attempt to follow them. If they go north, we will lose them in about 100 meters as they cross into Buffelshoek. Here we go. Here comes the one lioness is now moving. There's the cat stretch. Ooh. And the yawn. And let's hope they go in that direction, because that is where we would like them to go. She might have a little drink now. Such beautiful animals. Okay, always happens after a bit of movement. They have a toilet stop. Jane, male lions start growing their manes from about 7 months, 8 months, very, very small though. To about a year they start, and then they're fully developed at about between 3.5 and 4. Try and find the young male here, and where I think he's the one up on top of the rock there. Yeah, he's the one on top there. That's him. You can see he's just got a little bit of fur around the neck. It's not very, very prominent. There's a little bit more on the back of his head. So between about a year and maybe 12 months to 14 months, they'll start developing that sort of fur. Obviously, there's a bit of genetics involved. I'm just going to keep quiet for a moment. They're making little contact call noises. They have still got a piece of plastic pipe. Mongooses are very naughty when it comes to playing with things, but obviously we shouldn't have plastic pipe lying around. It's obviously evidence of old sort of plumbing or pumps to access the water in and around here. Seems to me like the lions were really enjoying the sunset. Kaylin, the lions in South Africa, most of them don't swim very, very well or enjoy swimming. Craig, do you want to have a look at the hippo here? He's behaving in a very strange manner. There we go. There's the defecation. All the lions are transfixed on these big, big juicy-looking mammals. And lions do stay away from water here. It doesn't mean they can't swim. It's they don't choose to swim. Let's see what reaction happens here. I don't know what's going on. He's moving very quickly towards the bank. The lions are very interested. They just can't help but react to something that moves. So tigers, yes, are very, very common in water. But up in the Okavango Delta, there's lions that spend a lot of time very submerged there because the habitat they've grown up in is very swampy, and they chase animals through the flats, through the mud flats in the water. So those lions do very, very well in water. But I've watched lions many times hiss, lions hiss at a puddle of water or a stream that's crossing the road. They don't like it very much. What a marvelous shot, Craig, eh? Hey? Buffel's hook provides again, yet again, provides us with some magic. Well, it looks like Herbie has finished doing his drawing. Let's go over to Herbie and Taylor and have a look.
I'm just pretending, I'm joking. There's no freeze frame. I just wanted to scare everybody in FC. Anyways, so Senzo also jumped in on the competition. Oh, my pages. Right, this over here is Herbie's beautiful drawing. It is a hammerkop fishing. And then this bit over here is actually the nest. And there's a little chicken side waiting for mom or dad to bring it some food home. There was a lot of thought that went into this picture, as you can see. Very well done, Herbie. And then on this side, on the left, well, your right, is Senzo's beautiful drawing. I don't know what he's doing here. He should be an artist because he drew that in about 2 seconds. Literally, I took my eyes off of him, and the next minute there was this beautiful bird that's pecking seeds, which it wasn't a turtle dove. I think it looks more like a turtle dove than an African green pigeon. So Senzo on the next page is going to have to draw an African green pigeon in a fig tree eating fruits, because that's what they absolutely love to eat. But there we go. Hey, quite nice. Much better than my pathetic drawing. And anyways, VM was talking about, imagine we had giant drongos that ate elephants. So I thought, well, where is it? I'm looking. That'll be the day you see the shadow come over the top of you and swoop up and take an elephant. Goodness. An Indian parrot. Okay, very nice. So we were obviously looking at Samu's picture, the green bird, which we saw earlier, that I showed you on my phone. And thank you for getting back to us. It was an Indian green parrot. Beautiful. I've never seen one before, but now I can say that I have seen one, which is pretty epic. Right. Well, the day is filled with surprises, isn't it? Brent mentioned male lion. Well, he's got one.
Well, this is not what we're used to seeing when you expect to see a male lion. And you can see he is literally skin and bones, one of the Majingalans. He doesn't have much time left, I'm afraid. He's desperate for a meal. It looks like he's also got some TB. There's some growths coming off him. But at his age, it's impressive. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe someone can tell me how old the Majingalans are. But he's losing condition very quickly at the moment. So as I said, if you are sensitive, this might not be the best lion sighting for you. But that is what happens out in the bush. This is what happens to male lions. If they don't get killed outright in the fight, they just slowly but surely keep losing condition. Shame. Poor old man. Yeah. It is quite difficult to see sometimes, but you got to remember, you've got to take the beauty with the ghastly out here, and hopefully, well, even in this state, you never know, the hyenas might even catch up with him. But it's very, very seldom that an animal will die from old age. They will normally get killed by something else when they lose condition like this. There we go. Angela, thank you very much. Angela says it thinks he's 14. That is incredibly old. There are very few lions that will make it to 14 years old. Okay, and that's him gone. He's headed off and out of our traversing area. Okay, well, it's difficult to see, but it's something you need to see as well. Can't always be all the nice things. Well, we're going to do a little loop, see if we can find Shadulu. Maybe end up with a nice healthy kitty. Now, the rest of his coalition, as far as I know, are still in the far western Sabi Sands. I'm not sure if I know they're not in the best condition, but they're not as bad as he is. He seems to be the worst out of them. I think there are 4 in total. I'm not sure. They used to sometimes come up into the northwestern parts outside of our traverse to the west of Arathusa. But they haven't been for a while. Obviously, with the Birminghams and stuff, they haven't been in good nick. They're old lions. They're properly old lions. Now, when male lions get to that stage, you have to be quite careful around them, especially if they start hanging around lodges, because they can be a threat to people, because he's so hungry, so desperate. That's the type of lion that is a great candidate for a man-eater. Those animals that are unable to catch buffalo or other animals. Now, not much of a sunset with all the clouds. Okay, we're going to keep checking about and heading for the area where we think Shadulu might be. Let's go head back to Taylor, who's prancing around quarantine.
Well, we are finally back up and on the plains of quarantine, not too far away from camp, which is quite cool. It's got dark very quickly, like we suspected, with a cloud cover coming in. The wind is dying down. Will we get one last bit of rain before dry season comes about? I really hope so. I hope we get a spectacular storm tonight. I hope there's thunder and lightning and flash floods and all these amazing things. We haven't seen floods for quite some time, so it would be nice to have them on the reserve. It can obviously make driving a little bit difficult, but I think that, well, the Sabi Sand needs it after the tough few years it's gone through with a lack of rain. So the ground, I don't think it'll actually be too bad, because we've had enough rain that there's a lot of vegetation covering the what once were bare patches. All the grass is sprouted up. All the trees look healthy. You've got lots of leaves on them. A couple of them will be losing those leaves now as we go into winter, though. So I don't think there'll be too much erosion. Obviously, along dams and things like that, where there's man-made dam walls, they're going to suffer. But nothing that can't be repaired, which would be quite cool. So sadly, we didn't get a view of our wildebeest friend. He's terrified today, as are the Impala. They're a little bit nervous. Ah, look what I've just found. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world. White button sedge. Well, not this one specifically, but just sedges in general are very nice. And seen as though all the water is a bit yucky at the moment with the algae and all the buffalo and things wallowing around in it. This is what some people would do up in Namibia, take a lot of them actually, put them in an ostrich egg with water, and actually help as like an antibacterial, so help keep the water nice and clean. Pretty sure the Egyptians used to do something along the lines as well. Anyways, we're going to head on home now as the light has faded. It's not safe for us to be out and walk anymore. Off we go to Steve, who's at Buffelshoek Dam with the lions.
Yes, thanks very much, Taylor. Hope you all get back safely. We are still with the Nkuhumas. They are all still very interested in what these hippos are doing. The hippos have been going up and down in the dam, probably trying to think of a good way to get out without having to go past a lion or two. It's getting to their time of night when they also want to get out and go and start feeding. And it looks like the lions are going to start going around the dam towards our left. It seems to be the general sort of way of things at the moment. So we might need to start up soon and move in that direction, because the lionesses are the ones who lead the way. You can hear some water thickneys, some blacksmith lapwings calling. The wind has changed. It's coming now from the south. Those clouds are still in the sky, but they seem to be very far away at the moment. So I think the storm on Djuma has abated, with the potential for the storm. Very cool breeze though, coming in now. It's going to be a wonderful evening. Probably one of the cooler evenings we've had so far this year. It definitely shows that winter is on its way, and we will soon be wearing warm jackets. No doubt Brent will be wearing a shuka. So you wonder what's going on in the mind of those lions. They're looking at this huge thing, and they're probably trying to think of different ways it would taste. All very interested in the hippo. I wonder if any of them have ever eaten hippo before. I don't think they've got a chance against any of these 3 hippos in the dam here. Just not enough weight behind them. That sighting that I saw years ago that was recorded was actually the lions all jumped on the back of the hippo, and the hippo was turning left and right trying to evade them, but none of them were really brave enough to go near the front end, which is the danger end in the hippo, and eventually it turned and it grabbed one lioness on the face. And a lioness weighs 140 kilograms, so it's close to 300 pounds plus minus, and it threw her away like a rag doll. And the rest of the lions decided very quickly after that 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 was a meal they didn't feel the need to pursue. But it always amazes me the resilience of these lions. That female survived, although she lost the use of her one eye. As you can see, there's a general movement to go around that way. So I'm going to make a move, see if we can get around that side. We've got a bit of work to do if we want to follow them that side. So let's see if we can manage. Marvelous afternoon sitting at Buffelshoek Dam. Always a beautiful place to sit. Okay, so let's see if we can get around here. I know that the dam does continue on over here. There are some lions. Okay, that wasn't so hard. I thought that was going to be harder than it was. The dam has actually filled up a bit. This was this whole section in front of us was dry last time I was down here. Well, relatively shallow. Sorry about the angle there, Craigo. Isn't that a beautiful silhouette? And the lions drinking. This is my favorite part. It is very pretty, ladies and gentlemen. And this is my favorite part, is watching the lions get up and start moving, and the youngsters will start playing. It just gets all very exciting, you know. They're on a road trip now. Who knows what the night is going to show them. Anything they come across will move off. And the wind is coming directly into us at the moment. Yeah, we're going to put on IR now, infrared now, folks, as the lions all start lying down in front of the car. There's a little glimpse at a heron that flew over. Oh, sorry about my head. We are now on infrared. Here we are with the lions. Two more still coming up from the back. Look at that one. He's playing with a stick in the water. Not quite sure what it is. So they are crossing exactly where I hoped they might. I hope we're going to be able to cross over there. And the general trajectory, we're going to pay attention to that, because if they do go south, that'll be marvelous. They'll go straight back into the heart of Djuma. But if they do keep going east, then we could lose them to over to Torchwood, Cheetah Cutline. Oh, he got a fright. The branch moved. Wasn't expecting that. There we go. Now that one, that's an adult, wants to have a look at whatever that stick is. Tanith, hippos will most likely stay in the water until the lions leave. I've seen that as well with us. If we spend time at the water, they will often stay in the water until we've left, only coming out once all activity is gone. They're very shy, and they don't like their appearance. Because it's moving, they think it's alive. And here, pearl spotted owlet in the background. Okay, so as soon as this last lion moves off, we'll follow them around. You can see how they're just skirting around the dam there. And they're heading in a perfectly southward direction, which is exactly what we want. Glad the IR is on, because I'm losing sight of them with my naked eye. There you go. Off we go. Okay, folks, so bear with us as we try and navigate the swampland ahead. Only joking, it's not going to be that bad, but it could be because of the rain we've had. First, we've got to get over a big lot. Sorry, Craigo. Because of the rain we had, the dam potentially has filled up a little bit more on the side here, and it's a little bit bumpy. So hold on. We'll just stay here with them, shall we? They're right here. Still very interested in the hippos. These are mainly the youngsters that are staying back here. The adults are already a little bit up ahead. The youngsters want to stay and see what hippo tastes like. They're not quite sure why they're moving off from something that seems to be so close by. It's for your own best interests, youngsters. You do not want to be tackling a hippo, I promise. You won't know what to do with it. Fantastic. So from lions mobile in the darkness, let's go over to Taylor, who's got some bright lights in the tent.
We do. We've come to the tent. Unfortunately, Brent is not well this evening, so he's come home. So we wish you a speedy recovery, but I'm sure he'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. We'll let him take as much time as he needs. Now, we are in the tent. I haven't got anything set up for you right now. I'm waiting for Conrad to come and sort the internet out because I'd like to have a look on one of the maps to see how big the storm is that is moving from off the coast of Mozambique, and if we can even see it, which would be quite cool. So in the meantime, I don't know what we're going to do. Oh, I was actually trying to find the darkling beetles and things like that, but I'm going to try and find them at some point. Kyle, it's dark because the sun has gone down, I suppose, and we are in autumn at the moment, and the days are going to get, well, less and less, well, the nights are going to get darker and arrive earlier, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. So that's going to happen, and it's a couple of minutes every single night. That's not what I'm looking for. Where are these beetles? I was actually looking at them today. They were somewhere around here. Thrips. I think it's a bit dark to find any insects outside that'll be active, unless something like an antlion, a lacewing wants to come on in. Where were they? I don't know where they are. There's like a whole section about them. It's quite cool. Oh, here's the bee flies we were looking at. We were looking at this one today, number 2. If you want to have a look. It has not got a common name. Oh, I can just starting to hear the hyenas outside as well. So that's the little, looks like the bee fly that we were looking at, which is pretty cool to see. I'm not even going to try and say the Latin name. You can read it if you like. That one. Over there. Very cool, in fact. It was nice that it was a little bit cooler. I also don't know how to say it. Australopithecus. Something along those lines. We'll get it eventually. Rebecca also said she has no idea how to say it. We've also seen this one though. We've definitely seen number 1, which is also a type of bee fly. We actually see them flying around quite often. I'd imagine you'd mistaken that for like a bumblebee or something, but it's much smaller. Very, very tiny, only a couple of millimeters. I think they're all around 20 millimeters, so 2 centimeters or something along those lines. Just need to look for these. Let me try and find the darkling beetles and whereabouts they are. They'll be in the Coleoptera section somewhere along the lines, but it's quite a diverse family we need to get through. But off to Steve, who's got lions, and I'm sure he's trying to keep up with them.
Yes, we are with lions, and this little youngster here is very interested in the moving wheel. I had to give it a little word a moment ago, because IR. He's got some lights on so we can see them, as the IR is on as well. But they are moving directly across the wind, as I sort of anticipated. You see the wind is coming from this direction to our right, my right-hand side here. And so they'll walk across the wind to try and pick up on the smell of any animal in this direction, and then they'll move in that direction to try and hunt. That is the general gist of it. It can take all night, ladies and gentlemen. It can happen really quickly, or it can take all night and be no success. But that is the general sort of way of things that I've seen in my experience with lions. And it's so nice to be following them on the road. But they are heading in a general east direction on Hippo Pools Road, which is right up in the northeastern corner towards Cheetah Cut Line. It is quite some time until we get to the cut line, but hopefully they will turn in before then. Child of the universe, the subadults, I haven't seen them hunt, but at the age that they're at, they're more of a hindrance when it comes to hunting than they are an asset. So they will do a lot of the feeding, a lot of the fighting, but they're not very important in the hunting at the moment. They basically just follow at the back. Quite often what you'll see is the youngsters will end up playing at the back while the adults are hunting, and then the meal disappears, and the adults will look back with this look of like, excuse me, And then eventually when they get hungry enough, they stop playing and they pay more attention. But in a pride of this size, 5 adult lioness do very, very, very well. Okay, well, looks like Taylor's managed to sort out her internet issues. Let's go back to her and her beetles.
Well, we're still trying to have a look. I don't know why I can't find it. I found Coleoptera, which is page 186. But for some bizarre reason, where is it? And there are the numbers at the bottom. I can't find the darkling beetles, and I don't know why. I definitely didn't tear the pages out today, that's for sure. But like I said, the Coleoptera order is quite large. There's many different types of beetles, from ground beetles and... Something's tickling me. I don't know if it's a spider web or if it's my hair. I think it was my hair tickling my face. Whirling beetles, parasitic comb beetles. What is a parasitic comb beetle? This thing. That's quite cool. Look at that. That's really impressive. Look at the antenna on that. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life, ever. And they seem to occur along the coast. I'm just having a quick read about them. Parasitic comb beetles. Well, maybe they'll come here. Maybe we'll get them here. What does it say about them? I've never even seen that. The larvae live in the soil and parasitize the larvae of cicadas. Oh, that's quite interesting. Very nice. They're attracted to lights. That is great information. So are most beetles. We have to keep an eye out for those. Surely we're going to get them now. Surely. Now, as we look through all these things, I'm trying to make sure that I find these beetles for you so we can try and figure out which one we had this afternoon. Jamie, yes, I think there's a shortage of bees throughout the world. I unfortunately think all the different bee species are under threat at the moment. A big one, of course, is habitat loss, as it is for most of the decline in animal species. Poisoning, using pesticides and things on plants, I think would be another one. So yes, definitely so. I'm not actually sure how many African bees are actually left. The internet is not working, so I can't even ask the Google machine to help us, which is normally super handy, but we'll see if we can get it in a moment. Okay, darkling beetles, here we go. Yay! And I don't think that we were looking at a darkling beetle. Maybe. Let's see here. No, that doesn't look like any of the ones that we had today. Ours did not have particularly long legs. What about that one? Number 1? No, that doesn't occur yet, so it can't be that one. We will try and check weevils next. That'll be the next thing to try and find, is the weevil page. Ant beetles. No. Okay, so it wasn't a darkling beetle. My next bet is that it's probably one of the weevils, but we'll make that another mission, because I think that's going to be a lot of paging through, so I'll do that when we're off air again. What else are we going to look at? What are we going to look at? I'm trying to think. We will have a look at just now is the inside of a porcupine quill that I broke the other night. We didn't actually get to look at it under the microscope, so we'll get that all set up, and also then try and find the page on weevils. But off you go to Steve, who's still doing a sterling job at keeping up with the cats.
Yes, we're still with them. They haven't gone very far. They've been walking since you last saw us. And now they're lying down again, bit of sneezing. There's one coming up from the back behind us now. You can hear it. There it is. They're definitely interested in something. There's definitely food on the brain, but the wind is swirling. It's changing direction quite regularly now, coming from the east and from the south. And this beautiful lioness is the rear guard. So they try and get the smells of things, but often the smells can be a bit swirling, so they also rely quite heavily on their hearing. Who knows what success they might have this evening. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is live. We have no idea what could happen around the next corner. We could suddenly stumble across a breeding herd of buffalo. Could stumble across anything, really. As you've seen in the past, we just bump into animals. And that's what's so marvelous about the live show.
Oh, no. Oh, you can hear my voice. La, 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 la. Forgot to turn the volume down. I was listening to what Steve was saying. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to find a live weather map, because the one I normally use is playing games. It doesn't really want to load very well, so I'm trying to see if we can get another one. Let's see. So now I'm doing squats. Yeah, look at this. How do I go zoom in? Oh no, it doesn't let me do anything. Lightning? Conrad, was that you making that noise? No, I just heard a... You also heard that, hey? I don't know what made that sound. We won't go and investigate. We'll just stay here in the tent. I think it may have been Conrad. Okay, so anyways, I'm so sorry. I can't open it as well as I wanted to. This is not the map that I normally use. But if you look along here, all along the east coast, there's quite a bit of cloud cover. So I'm pretty sure that's the big storm that's coming on through. And that is what's, I think, coming over us at the moment. And it does look like it's sort of spreading quite nicely. Let's hope that we do get one last bit of rain. I think it will be really good. The Sabi Sand, I don't think, has seen this much rain for a very, very long time, especially up here in the north. Then the other thing that I have for you, I haven't got to the weevils yet. Maybe that will be what puts me to sleep tonight, is, shall we have a look at the microscope? Let me see if I can get this working. Don't worry, Bex, because I'm trying to do this as well. Bex is just taking the... Okay, we're ready. There we go. I was told to click my fingers. Oh, that's so bright. Is it too bright, Bex? We're just having a look at... I'm just trying to find the... it's my side. No, that's brighter. That is as dark as the light goes. Unfortunately, it'll have to do. Anyways, so this is a porcupine quill snapped in half. It looks like candy floss in the center. It's weird. I would never have expected to be filled with a substance like this. I'm sure it's just keratin. I mean, I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to turn this. If you look over here at this bit, you can see that there's long sort of strings of keratin, but I don't know this type of keratin in here. It's so weird. It's quite porous as well, but tough in the same breath. I don't think you would normally use porous and tough in the same go. Oh no, I suppose you do, because some corals are like that. Anyway, sorry, it's not working as well as what I can see on my monitor. That's okay. It's a bit of a fail. We'll try and have a look at that at some point again. But it is quite cool. Maybe you can see it like this. How is that? Sensel's just going to zoom on in. You turn it like that. Pretty cool. See, it's weird. I'm trying to think. I've definitely seen a substance like this before, but I don't know what. Yes, that's exactly it. Coconut. That's exactly what it looks like. Thank you, Rebecca. When you open a coconut, isn't that quite cool? No, I think we're failing miserably here, Senzo. We'll just call it a loss. There we go. It's hard to focus on it and hard for me to keep my hands still. Anyways, so that was that, which is quite cool. I'm going to look for those weevils now, and when you come back to us, hopefully I'll have some weevils. I might even see if I can find a different weather map, but off you go to Steve, who's now not on a road. He's bundu bashing.
Yes, we are off-road. We are following these lines. Don't want to lose them. We have no idea where they're going, but the good news is they are going directly south. That is all I can tell you. There they are. They're moving with quite a bit of purpose. I wouldn't say like running purpose, but they definitely have some intention on the mind. Marcy, the lions can see phenomenally well. We are looking using an infrared camera there. Now you see how dark it is. They can basically see what you see with that lens. That's kind of what they're able to see. If Craig goes back onto the infrared and he goes back to where the lions are, that's kind of what the lions can see. But we're going to see if we can keep up with them here. I don't want to lose them for you. It is inevitable though, but I would like to try a little bit harder as it starts getting quite thick, the bush. But they can see very, very well at night. All the predators can. They see black and white. They don't see the color or depth that we see, but it enables them to see very well in the darkness. And just like that, they vanish. Ow! That was a branch. This is a very thick block, ladies and gentlemen. I can just see the back side of one. There's another one there. Just up ahead here. I'm not going to crouch in on them. We don't want to disturb whatever it is that they are doing. Okay, fantastic. Let's go back over to Taylor, who'd like to show you the bird drawings.
Well, I'm having a little scroll through Twitter, which I don't normally do, and there's some great ones. There we go. Have a look at this one from Kim. That's beautiful. A green macaw from South America. That's beautiful. Goodness. And who drew that? Did Sydney? Sydney drew that. She was only 7 years old. Very cool. Okay, well, there's one. I did see can I show you my favorite one? Is this one by Mia. Sensor says this bird is very far away. It is indeed. It's kind of what you just see when you look at birds flying towards the sunset. Who else have we got here? Oh, he's going to have that. Hey, look at this one. This is amazing. Well, Katie, wow. You've outdone yourself. That's incredible, of a lilac-breasted roller. I think that those are the kinds of birds I see in my dream. Very nice. So well done to all of you. It was, well, great to have you all join us and participate in Draw a Bird Day. But I think what I am going to be doing now is sending you off to watch something that's not live, but we've taken the time to put it together for you, well, for World Draw a Bird Day.
We've been celebrating Draw a Bird Day for 2 years now, and while it's a fun task, this small action has a very big effect. Once upon a time, in 1943 to be exact, Dory Cooper, a little girl of just 7 years, went to visit her uncle in hospital. He had lost his leg fighting in the Second World War. Dory's uncle was in a lot of pain. The little girl wanted to cheer him up, and so she asked, "Uncle Rufus, would you draw a bird for me, please?" Although he was still very weak, Uncle Rufus agreed to this request from his young niece. "All right, Dory, I'll see what I can do," he replied, opening his eyes. He looked out of his window, and what did he see? A beautiful robin. And so, Dory's uncle got to drawing the robin. Dory took one look at the picture, and oh, how she laughed. "Uncle Rufus, this isn't very good, but I love it all the same. It makes me happy." Dory took this terribly drawn picture and hung it in her room at home. This lifted her uncle's spirits. He saw the goodness in her honesty. Soon after that, the other wounded soldiers in the hospital started a bird drawing contest. Presently, the entire ward was covered in bird drawings of all kinds. Bad, colourful, artistic, funny and precise. It was a sight to behold. Tragically, just 3 years later, Dory was killed in a car accident. At her funeral, the coffin was filled with bird images created by the wounded soldiers, nurses and doctors from the ward where Dory's uncle had recovered. Every year after that, those men and women remembered the little girl who brought joy to injured soldiers by drawing birds on her birthday, April the 8th. So this 8th of April, commit your favourite feathered friend to paper and remember that sometimes the smallest and simplest things have the greatest effect.
You're back with us. I'd like to thank all of you out there for your wonderful drawings and pictures. I believe they are incredible. I haven't seen them yet, but I will make sure I get a look when I get back to camp. We are still with the Unkuhumas, and they just stopped to drink at a little puddle, which I'm hoping not to get stuck in. Little mud wallow. And incredible how quickly these cats can just disappear. There they are. They're following a very nice game path, heading in a perfectly southerly direction. This is the game path that we actually had the last time, if you're watching with me. We waited at Buffelshoek for those buffalo to come through. This is the game path that they actually came through on. So what a marvellous afternoon we have had. Tingana, doing his thing. Lions doing their thing. Oh, a little clawing, scratching on the tree. And the Uncle Humas showing us some care and some love. This is the first time I've been able to follow them. It's been marvelous. And thanks for being out with me this afternoon, Craiger. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for all your questions and comments. It's been a very nice afternoon as we try and keep up with these very elusive cats. Thank you from myself, Craig, and everyone else in FC as we try and get one more little picture of these lions as they disappear. They seem to be gone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early.